And we are on the podcast. This is the first episode of the Peace Hike podcast, and I am David Rambo. I have Anthony here with me tonight, another Anthony, or to my right as well, and then I have X down below me, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves to, the YouTube world.
YouTube.
What's going on?
How's it going? So I'm Anthony, and this guy down here, that's Motorcycle Xavier.
Motorcycle Xavier?
It is Xavier, or you can call me X. Doesn't matter.
I like
X
X.
for extreme.
It sounds so much tougher, so much more masculine.
All right, so let's just talk about something that the people can expect in the future, and that's us talking about pretty much everything. We're going to talk about Native American culture because we three are, except for one of us over here.
Over here, he's not Native.
And we're going to also be talking about paranormal to aliens to, you pretty much think about it, we're going to be talking about it. That's what's going to happen. And we're here and we're going to give honest opinions about how we feel. And we're going to kick this off. You guys got a topic ready, or should I just go with one?
I would let you go with one, man. What do you got?
Well, let's start immediately into a good conspiracy theory that came up to me today, and actually made a good point about something. So I know we're kind of talking a little bit before the show started. So with that being said, there was the idea that we thought of, or one of us thought of, the whole Diddy thing. I understand it gets a lot of point of views. It gets a lot of talk about whatnot. But the people that have moved and are convicted in the long run for these charges, theory is they commit suicide before they go into U.S. prison. Would you guys agree, or would you guys disagree, and why?
Honestly, damn.
I'm trying to say that one more time. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay, so we all know about the Diddy parties and Diddy shit, right? So just saying, those who have moved, like Ellen, some other people, but Rosie O'Donnell, whatever, but they all moved, and later down the road, sometime sooner or later, they get caught with charges against them. So instead of getting charged and going to prison, they commit suicide.
Well, they get unalived. I know what you mean. I feel like it's a convenient way to be able to get rid of somebody. It's like I heard a story one time. We're watching this mini documentary about this old drug dealer from the 70s, right? This guy was selling drugs for decades. Then you come to find out he's gonna get charged, and he heard that he's gonna get a life sentence. So he goes on the run, and back then he had, was it $10 million or $12 million, and equivalent to today's money, it's almost $100 million. It was like $98 million. He disappeared. They had sightings around for him, and he had a lot of problems with the mafia. And they had recordings, FBI recordings, saying that, hey, we want to kill this guy because he's making too much money. That's a good way for someone to get away with killing somebody. Because if you, they don't want you to say something, they don't like you, and it's a perfect opportunity to say, well, he killed himself. That's a good way to just fucking not have anyone ask more questions about it, you know?
So I'm just saying, for example, you say Ellen DeGeneres moves, and she's caught longer in the long run with the Diddy party, and she's going to prison. Do you think she commits suicide, or do you think they killed her?
Well, that's the thing, though. A lot of these people are so heavily driven, they have a lot of influence. So a lot of those people, they're going to get away with a lot of that shit. It just has to do with how much public view do you have of it. And that's what's crazy about nowadays, because back in the 90s and shit, or the early 2000s, it's not real, technical, and everyone's on social media saying something about something. They could have got away with a lot of things back in the day. And it was just hear shit. He say, she say bullshit. Why is it that fucking R. Kelly didn't go down until they started making documentaries about him, and people were making fun about him peeing on people and shit like that? It just has to do with their influence and the times. how much can they sweep under the rug to let them get away with it? Because why? They make the money for shit, you know? Like Ellen DeGeneres. Who the fuck watches Ellen? No one watches Ellen anymore. She's a creepy old, like, she looks like a fucking creepy ass old lady. Like, yeah, I think that's why they kicked her ass off. They didn't let her have her show no more. And who knows? Maybe she will go down for something, but she's not gonna go to prison. She'll probably go do some Martha Stewart time. 7 months at a fucking a women's federal correctional system where they got a fucking spa or some shit like that. Those type
Vegas.
of people, they got people to fucking watch their back because they make too much money for some people. They just do, and it depends, And I tell Xavier too, when people get comfortable with having money and getting whatever they want, they just start acting fucking weird, and it just goes to show you the morals. Yeah, they start acting fucking weird because normal shit to them is boring. So that's
Yeah.
why people that have a lot of money, they start acting fucking weird because they have no morals because that's what fucking bought them to have money in the first place. You know what I mean?
And
Or at
we
least
were
that's
talking
my
about what would America be like if there was no more Hollywood. Like, do you guys have an opinion on that? Like, if America had no more Hollywood elites,
Or even if Hollywood never existed.
Mm.
I don't see that
Honest-
going away at all. The
No.
biggest time I've seen like things change is like COVID time. You remember when COVID hit and everyone was kind of like, it was weird to see like everything shut down. Even Hollywood shut down. They couldn't make movies and they were fighting for them to make movies and make music and writers weren't writing. It's crazy to see that. That was a point in time when you can see, well, if that went away, what are the changes? It just made people want to do social media and fucking. That's why there's so many people on YouTube and different fucking websites you can go and hang out and talk about snakes and weird shit like that.
I mean,
Xavier,
yeah, in my opinion, if Hollywood were to disappear, or to cease to exist, really, I don't think anything is going to change. I mean, everybody's still going to be making money either way. I mean, you've got to think about it. You got the oil field, you got welding jobs. I mean, they need more welders than anything, but all really anybody cares about nowadays is making a name for themselves and making money out of it, and sooner or later go to Hollywood and do their own thing. But yeah, I'm with Anthony when he says and points out that after a while, money's not an issue. You just get bored of normal stuff, so you start doing weird stuff.
Do you think that we would be off as a better race of mankind? I'm just saying. Do you think we'd be better off if
The way I see it is, entertainment is probably one of the oldest things for mankind. From the fucking caveman times, when those motherfuckers found out how to fucking make a fire or roll a fucking wheel, that was kind of like entertainment to them because they didn't have shit. So no matter what, as humans, we're gonna have to find that way of like having this type of downtime and enjoyment in life, and that's entertainment when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
I just think that it's going to change a lot more now because you see all these big time movie production companies like Warner Brothers, Columbia, Universal. They're making movies, but not like they used to. Like a lot of the budget's now coming from the streaming platforms instead of having the big production company going out and promoting them, putting commercials. Like where can they really put the commercials at for it now? Streaming services, because who the fuck is watching TV nowadays? Unless you're dirt fucking poor and you ain't got money to go buy a fucking Netflix account, or you're just a fucking old bastard sitting at home and you're like, I refuse to get on the internet, and you want to have direct TV. That just goes to show you, like, society's changing a lot. And as the generations grow, like I probably see my kids living in the age where they don't know nothing about a production studio. Like, oh, that was Netflix made. That was fucking Paramount Plus made, Like, things are changing entertainment-wise.
I agree. I just, in my personal opinion, and I mean, once again, it's my opinion, I think if Hollywood never existed ever, that society would have built a lot more better path than it's going down in the moment. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Also, I just want to add too. Another good point you made, Anthony, was if Hollywood did not exist, it would it would form itself in another way, such as social media as it is right now. So you already have people who are trying to become famous. I like to call social media a poor man's version of Hollywood. It's super accessible. It's super easy. Anybody can put out a video, some content in hopes that they become internet famous. So even if Hollywood did not exist, it was still the spirit of Hollywood would still remain in social media. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So I feel like there's a spirit of trying to obtain a spirit of famousness. You know, like they just want to become famous. They just want their name to be out there. So I think it's like a drug. I think it can become very addictive, where you just want to become famous. You want people to know who you are. You want to flaunt your wealth. You want to flaunt some status. You want people to know that you're doing well. And it's almost like a very selfish spirit in that sense. But there's
It really
nothing we
is.
can
And
do about it.
people say that it's actually what is it? Psychologically motivated when you're addicted to like social media and looking at your phone. It's like
Mm-hmm.
playing slots. Like when you pull that lever to play the slots, if you're an old bastard and play slots like that, you pull the slot.
Yeah.
It's not that you're winning money. It's that the anticipation of what's gonna happen. So like when you open your
Yeah.
phone, you look at like, oh, let me look at my email real quick, and you're like, oh damn, there's nothing going on. Oh shit, I got something important today. That's the anticipation that builds that what's gonna happen. That's what makes it addictive to people, and it's dangerous
Right.
because
Right.
it's dangerous nowadays because we have so much like technology and like advancements, but it's like a double-sided coin, like there's comes with the good and the bad. And there's a lot of crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about too. I remember when I was in high school, right? It was 2006, 2007. I remember when I was in high school. We were in a class and we were with this one dude. So I grew up in East LA. So I grew up and I went to high school at Roosevelt High School. So there was a lot of cultural differences, a lot of mixed atmosphere. I went to class with the really good teachers, and one of the teachers, he was kind of weird. He's a white guy. He was a vegan, and back when being a vegan, it was like, what's up with this guy? You know what I mean? He don't eat cheese and shit
Boo.
like that. But yeah, anyways, he was open minded about telling us about, oh, be who you want to be. And I remember there's this one devil worshiper guy, Dave. There was a devil worshiper guy, right? And this guy was talking about, oh yeah, check out this new website. And it was kind of weird because that was when the internet started really popping off, and like a lot of like YouTube started really around that time. And I remember that time he showed us a website, and it would talk about like devil worshiping and how it's good. And that was crazy too to me, to think about like, wow, this motherfucker is showing us this weird shit. Do you ever remember that one website too that used to search and like put in ASCII things and it would answer your questions? Do you remember that fucking website?
Huh.
You never remember that website? It was weird. Some people said that it was fake because some people said there's a way you can go in and put the answers to the questions that people would ask. But then a lot of people said that weird shit would happen to them. Like they would ask them weird like shit about people that died or something, and then they give them weird answers. You don't remember that shit?
No.
And that was a website back in the day too. I remember that was like back in the day, like 2006, 2007.
Did it have like suicide videos, like killing videos?
No. It was just like, imagine Google with the search bar, but you asked the questions.
So it
And
was like the dark
I
web for
forgot.
Google.
Yeah, it was weird. It wasn't Google. It was just like a search engine thing. Like you asked the questions, but it would give you weird answers sometimes. But I don't know. That was something I wanted to bring up. I just feel like the more and more we like advance in technology, it gets weird. Like you ever heard about how they're trying to make this company, right? They're trying to find a way to put your consciousness on a piece of hard drive and put it in another person that they organically grew. And they say it's a possibility and they want to have funny for it. And think about all the old bastards like the Rockefellers or people that are like fucking 90 years old and they still want to live somehow. They're gonna fund that shit and they're gonna have some weird shit going on with these fucking weird like humans that they put fucking in a test tube and shit like that. You know what I mean? And it's true, it's real. Who knows how real it is? You know what I mean? But it's a possibility that might happen in the next like 20, 30 years.
Yeah, you never know, man. I mean, we live in a day and age where everybody wants to live forever, man. I mean, fuck, I can't. My grandpa would always tell me as a young kid, he'd always tell me, Anthony, the greatest day of your life is the day that you leave this earth. He couldn't wait to die. He was always somebody who loved life, he loved the family, but he couldn't wait to leave because he didn't love this world that much. He didn't love it, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, this world is, you know, we all know what this world is. But my grandpa would always tell me, you know, Anthony, the best day of your life is the day that you leave this earth. Xavier, let's go to you,
That's
man.
some cold ass shit. That's some cold ass shit for something to tell you.
Honestly,
For though, that's the time then.
honestly, when it comes to people dying and the idea of death, a lot of people, in my opinion, a lot of people aren't really ready for it. So yeah, I can see why a lot of famous people and or rich people will go to like the depths of like trying to figure out if there is a way they can actually live forever. But you also
Mhm.
got to realize there's also a downside to that. Say they were to successfully make that happen, right? You are going to have to realize that everybody that you knew and or loved are gone. I mean, it's just going to be you, you know? I mean, who are you going to share that wealth with? Who are you going to spend time with? Who are you going to like share everything with, you know? So, is it really worth it though? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not afraid of all that. You know, I know and I've accepted that sometime sooner or later it'll happen, and I'm not really worried about it. You know?
Yeah,
There you
everyone
go.
has their own perspective on it, and if you have your piece of what you feel like is going to happen, and then I know I have my piece with God. You know, my time comes. If I did all right in life, then hopefully I have a good afterlife. And who knows what may or not happen. You know, everyone has their own views, and I respect that. You know what I mean? It's weird to think that some people are just so afraid of it. But then think about this too, right? I forgot where I heard this from, but a man that lived had eternal life. I think it's a fucking movie, or like a plot line of a movie or some shit, right? He lives forever, but he yearns for death because everyone that he ever knew is gone. It's like, what's the point of living forever if everything you ever knew and loved is gone? It's like, what's the
Mhm.
point of
Right.
living then?
I mean that just proves my point. You know, like is it really worth
Well, you know,
it
there is a
at the end
movie
of the day?
called Transcendence. I'm sorry, yeah. There's this movie I wanted to tell you before I forget. So there's this movie called Transcendence, and it has Johnny Depp, and it has the same plot line of him trying to find the technology to put his consciousness into a computer so he can live forever.
It's crazy.
That'll be a
Yeah, I
fucking
think
good movie to fucking check out.
I mean, for sure, from my point of view, I would not want to live forever. Just to see the agony, the people you love and care for die, and you live, and you just keep going. Like that sounds like, to me personally, it sounds horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, because what happens if you get caught up and you go to prison and you have this fucking lifespan of, you know, forever, and you're stuck in prison forever.
Yeah, that is true.
That sounds like a Twilight Zone episode. I don't know if you guys ever watched the Twilight Zone. You ever seen that shit? There's the episode, right, where this one dude, he lives forever and he thinks it's hilarious to go and try to kill himself, and he keeps like falling, like he gets on top of a building and he keeps jumping, and his girlfriend's like, no, not do it anymore. So she goes up there and somehow the bitch falls off, and then he's like, oh damn, and then the cops put his ass in prison, and they're like, you're on death row now, and every night he goes and experiences getting electrocuted and dying and coming back, and
Oh
that's the
wow,
rest of his life.
wow,
That's crazy.
yeah,
That's horrible.
that sounds like some fucking Greek mythology type shit, dude.
Yeah, shit. You get what you asked for, because I think that was the premise of that episode, was him like meeting somebody or something like that, and he was able to ask for things he wanted, and one of the things he wanted to do was live forever.
What was that Greek mythology story where the guy has to hold up the world and the raven keeps plucking at his liver or his intestines and he dies, and then he wakes up again and his body's healed, and he has to go through that every single day. The raven keeps coming and eating at him. He starts eating his eyes, his liver, and his body parts.
That sounds like some shit out of the Bible too, though, when it comes down to it, because there is some shit like that. It's like that sounds like hell, because like it's like they say in hell you die. Wait, yeah, I'm serious, and you know about that shit too, Dave. When they say when you're in hell, like the worst things you've done in life, that's the type of death you have over and over.
Yeah, that would be crazy, man. Like if every little thing that you did, all the evil things you did, happened to you
You
in
guys
hell,
ever
like
heard of Dante's Inferno?
yeah, yeah, the seven seven layers of
And the
hell.
story, I forget where that story comes from. I think it's like, yeah, and that movie or that story's been told for so many different times. I think the first time
Yeah.
that story came out, let me look that shit up. I think it was the 1600s, 1700s, something like that, long time ago.
Yeah,
The
because the painting was just as famous as the story, right?
Yeah, because the whole thing was that he wrote a play and then the painting came with it or some shit like that.
Yeah,
1321. Damn. In Italian too.
yeah, those
Damn.
Italians are fucking super fucking talented, man.
that Greek mythology story you were talking about is actually there was a god named Prometheus. He was yeah, he was to hold the world. It's like a whole story where he held the world, but he got too, how do you say it? He got too big and stole the fire from Olympius.
There you
So what Zeus ended up doing was sending a eagle to pluck at him, and it'd pluck at his liver.
There you go.
But that was his eternal hell. That was like his punishment for being greedy, for taking the fire of Olympus.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. That's crazy, man.
I guess the moral of the story is, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out. And, he fucked around and he found out pretty bad.
The more you fuck around, you find out, huh?
Yeah, I mean, imagine being plucked in the liver
listen.
by a fucking eagle.
Oh no! I mean, it hurts to get plucked in the liver.
Yeah, and it's like you can't do anything about it because it's an eagle, and if somebody sees you, like do anything to it, I mean, you're going to get arrested.
Oh, that was a weird entry. Gonna get arrested for what?
For for hurting an eagle. I mean,
that's just a federal crime too.
yeah.
There was a story recently of this white dude going to the reservation and shooting down the bald eagles to sell the feathers to the natives locally. And it wasn't one or two; it was like dozens of them. He was doing that shit too, and they're trying to give him like fucking, I think, in like 10 years or some shit like that.
Hey, the only thing I can say, and I'm not going to say I have any relationship to this, but you can glue hats on pigeons. I'm just saying.
Super good. Can you guys look up videos of or pictures of pigeons with hats?
No,
don't fucking lie. You know where this is at too? This is near my reservation. I'm looking it up right now, right? A U.S. man accused of killing thousands of protected birds pleaded guilty. Thousands? What kind of a motherfucker? And he killed the birds near Idaho. And yeah, that's some shit.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy.
45 months, that's it.
45 months, that's all you get, bro.
You got 45 months and 800,000 in fines. Damn.
Wow.
He looks like an old bastard too.
Yeah, it's saying.
What an asshole.
All right, so we covered
2009 to 2021. What was that?
Well, like Anthony was saying, we covered a good like amount of the topic. So next topic I would like to get into, and Anthony, hopefully you can start us out over there, or maybe X, whoever wants to go first. But let's talk about some, skinwalkers, how they're embedded into Native American tribe, and they're also embedded into other people's, like people that believe in it. We could also talk about
all right.
the
So before we
reservation.
talk about this, I don't mind. You want to start, Xavier, or want me to start?
I mean, I can start off with my opinion on it.
Okay. Well, before we start, too, okay. What tribe are you from? Just so we all get a different perspective, because the whole conversation about skinwalkers, it goes through all different Native American tribes. Everyone has their own beliefs about it. So I just want
Bishop,
to like point
California.
out what tribes are you from. So what tribe are you from? X.
Well,
How are you?
I'm actually a mix, so I have 3 tribes. I have Apache, Comanche, and Aztec. So I have to figure something out with that as a whole, because to sit here and claim I am a specific tribe will shit on my ancestors through the other tribes, so I can't do that. But the
What was that again? I'm sorry. You kind of like timed up.
oh, so I was saying, I can't really specify on what tribe I'm from fully, because to be honest, I am mixed. I am Apache, I am Comanche, and I am Aztec.
Oh, hold on,
So
do that again. All I caught was Aztec.
yeah, I am part Aztec, part Apache, and part of Comanche.
You pretty much got a lot of like tribal bloodlines come from the southern part of the plains of America, from
Yeah,
south to southwest to even deep south into Mexico. Like that's where all your Native American tribes come from. What about you, Dave?
yeah.
Paiute and Cherokee.
Paiute and Cherokee. Oh, the white man's tribal, huh? Cherokee.
White
He's
man's
the prestigious one.
What is that old time joke? It's like, oh, every white guy says that they're Cherokee. He said, "What? Yeah, I had a Cherokee princess in my family a long time ago."
I've got a Cherokee Jeep, a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Right.
That shit is weak, son.
Plus, I mean, I am a mix.
See, you're from the southeastern side of the plains. Xavier, because he's Comanche and Apache, he's more of the southwest side of the plains.
Yeah,
And you're Paiute too, so you're from more of the west side, over here near like Nevada, near the Rocky, uh, what is that called? The Sierra
Sierra
Nevada
Nevada.
mountains. So are you full-blooded Paiute? Full-blooded Paiute and Cherokee, right? Cherokee and Paiute?
My dad was full-blooded Paiute. My mom is a mix.
Oh, okay. So that's where you get most of your main amount of your native blood comes from your dad then.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, I'm Shoshone Paiute, which is different than Paiute. So I'm Shoshone Paiute and I'm Navajo. And my grandpa, he came with the Shoshone Paiute, and my grandma was Navajo, but she had a little bit of Apache in her. That's what my grandpa used to tell me, that she's fucking crazy. But we'll get into that another time. All right, Xavier. Yeah, go ahead and put your opinions on. What are your opinions on skinwalkers, and what is your perspective of your tribal's perspective on the whole thing?
I mean, when it comes down to it, my opinion, I honestly think that when it comes to skinwalkers, it, they all come from witches or from warlocks, So because of that, they pray to become these animals in spirit form, when they really need to, or when they really need to go and go somewhere far, really, or in the afterlife more. But from what I've seen, skinwalkers are evil spirits. From what I've heard, skinwalkers are evil spirits that are not meant to be tampered with, not meant to be harassed or anything like that. And growing up, I mean, I've always learned to never. I was always taught to never whistle at night. Because when you whistle at night, you're giving the spirits a path, basically like a portal to walk through. And because of that, that's how you get evil spirits such as skinwalkers. Now, I'm not saying all skinwalkers are bad. You have your good ones. You have your good spirits that'll actually help, that'll guide you. But at the same time, it's kind of like a gamble. You don't know whether or not you're going to get a good spirit or you're going to get a bad spirit. You know. I mean, that's just my opinion, honestly. What is Anthony? What is your opinion on it? I mean, how does your tribes see skinwalkers?
Anthony, can you hear X?
I think he's fingering the phone.
You're Anthony.
Anthony, are you fixed?
X, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What about Anthony? Is he there?
Anthony, you there?
Is he a reptilian?
No.
I cannot hear you guys.
Oh, you can't?
Are you being held hostage? Blink twice if you're being held hostage. Please? Oh, shit. You got X. Okay, you do that.
Hey, Dave, I might have to re-enter because it's kind of getting. Oh, there, I can see you now.
Can you hear me?
Now I can. It's the wind right now. It's really fucking bad.
Sauce?
It's making all our connections kind of shitty.
You don't want What? You're not a sauce guy? You look like a sauce guy. So what about you, Anthony, about the whole skinwalker? I think he's pissed at us. I think he knows we got pizza. Anthony, can you hear us? Oh, fuck. I might need to reboot. Can you see me?
All right, now I can see. I don't know about Isaiah. I can't see him now.
I'm
Come
here.
on, X, get in.
All right, so yeah, what is your opinion on skinwalkers, Anthony? I mean, how does your tribe see skinwalkers, and what is your beliefs on them?
There you go, finally.
I don't know anything about skinwalkers, so I'm not gonna say anything at all. Just to be fair, so maybe you can educate me a little bit on a little bit more on what they are.
So a skinwalker. X, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So
Oh,
skinwalker can take form of another animal or pretty much anything, and it's evil.
So it's like an evil spirit.
Correct. And people have made videos of their dog being a skinwalker, or them seeing. There's a place actually called Skinwalker Ranch that
I've heard of that.
there's a lot of sightings.
Yeah, crazy shit. Just to get into what I had to tell you. So, out of your perspective, Dave, coming from your tribe, is it more of a thing that talk about it? And the YouTube Xavier, is it more of a thing that like openly talk about it? Because from my tribe, being a Navajo, there's a lot of sightings and shit back in Mexico where my tribe is from, my grandma's tribe. I was always taught to not even talk about it because they'll know you're talking about it. My grandma's just superstitious like that. You know what I mean? And a lot of people say it has to do with medicine man being bad medicine. It's like, but it goes back to Native American beliefs with their rituals and what their traditions are, because a lot of people say like that are like Navajos that hear about skinwalkers, they say it has to do with people wanting to do bad medicine and they want to do it quickly. So they have to have a sacrifice. So a lot of the time, the people that are skinwalkers that do that bad shit, a lot of the time, their family members going to die. Like their mom, their brother, their sister. Sometimes all of the close family members going to die because of the bad shit they have to do. I remember my grandma telling my grandpa one time, because she's a mean old lady. She's like, you in the family, you're skinwalkers doing bad medicine. That's why your family dies. Like, no, because it's fucking old. That's why they died. But yeah, a lot of that shit has to do with like bad medicine, strong medicine too. Like my grandpa used to tell me, like it's just so magic. The way I see it is just like medicine and these bad shit, you know. And that's why a lot of stories come from Skinwalker Ranch because it's the medicine they use to be able to do that. And a lot of the stories are weird because it's like they fuck with them mentally. Like they were talking about how they make fucking cattle disappear and then like shove their ass in like a little shack that barely holds them. It's like they're fucking with them mentally, you know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of that shit comes from like they're getting it from the bad energy that they're getting off of the people they're fucking with. It's like I don't know if that's true because this is from your perspective too, right? See, from my perspective, I see like people that do bad shit and get people scared is like they feed off that bad energy. To have them keep doing that bad shit.
I would say it depends on what you can see. That's a touchy subject, bro. Like,
What do you mean?
okay, so like, how many times have you read about priests touching kids?
Yeah, that's the worst part about it all when people talk about, you know, being a devil worshiper and all that shit. Which that's why it's glad that we have conversations like this. You know, me being a Christian person, maybe you're not really be kind of the in between guy, and you're the Satanist, you know. So we put the record straight because there's a lot of stigmatism, like especially during the 80s and the 90s, all the satanic panic and all that shit. So from your perspective, do you think that is a correct assumption that people that are Satanists they like to do bad shit so they can feed off the bad energy of other people?
I'm just asking. X, can you hear Anthony? Okay.
You're a little muffled, Anthony.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
Better?
A lot better.
All right, my bad. My cheap ass headphones. I don't want to work that in. But yeah, so the whole perspective of it. Yeah, well, like I said, do you think that is a correct assumption to make? I'm not saying like the extent of the bad things that they want to do to people, either like, you know, fucking with their mind mentally, or, you know, the worst of the worst, like you said, touching kids and shit like that. Are there some Satanists that like to do that? Like, now I'm not talking about the worst of the worst, but like they like to do bad shit to people to feed off their bad energy.
For me personally, to know that, okay, in Revelations, if and you can quote me on this, and I'm probably going to get it wrong, but I think it's 240,000 people make it, somewhere around there, when Revelations happens, right? So with that being said, knowing that I'm not going to be part of that limited selection to be lasted to be casted to heaven, like, I know that I am a better person than those people that claim to be Christians that go to church and then still sin on the God they proclaim to have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I respect your opinion on that, because when it comes down to it, I'm not a person that likes to go to church all the time. And when I do, I don't like the atmosphere of some of the people that are there, but that's not what I'm there for. I'm there for my own, it's like to heal your spirit. It's like when you go to the hospital and you fucked your foot up or whatever, you know, like I broke my leg one time. So I had to go to the hospital. But for me, it's like when I go to church, it's like I have to heal spiritually. And I get what you say. A lot of Christians, they have that type of like, I'm better than you, and what are you doing in your life? And you want to judge people, and even in the Bible it says you don't judge people. That's not for you. God's the person that is going to judge you and tell you what you're doing is wrong. You know, that's not for me.
Well, yes and no. Yes, yes, you're right, but no, it's kind of wrong too at the same time. Because once again, I told you that I did an advanced class called Paideia. I went to this church. Yes, I am a Satanist, Luciferian, whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, you are allowed to judge people not by the way they are or by the way they act, but by the scripture.
And how they smell.
Because if the fruit is not knowledgeable, they are lying. You know what I'm saying? It says it. Can't give you Balaam for quote, but I can give it to you for next time, to where it says God says that you can literally judge the fruit of knowing the word.
All right, was that in
But
the
you're
New
not
Testament or the Old Testament?
I believe that is new.
Okay, because a lot of the stuff in the Old Testament gets cleared up in the New Testament, like about sacrificing animals and certain things. A lot of that
Yeah,
changes
that was
in the New Testament. So who knows if I understand what you're quoting, you're knowledgeable because where you come from because you know your shit. You know what I mean? So I'll take your word for that one. I will.
so.
But for me
And we
personally,
were
I don't
talking
think
about
it's right to judge people. Like
if
how
I'm
they don't
right.
want to have. Like I don't like that people get mad that there's women pastors or there's a gay person in the church or this and that. It's like it's not for me to judge your lifestyle or what you do in life. As long as it doesn't affect me or my family, it doesn't really. I don't give a shit. You can look like a fucking weirdo on your own time. Do what the fuck you want, you know. And that's the type of Christian I am. The type of Christian I like to be is like I come from the background where I'm not the type of person to speak out of place because I don't know what your struggles in life are. I've been in a bad spot some parts of my life, and I can come from a certain place when I tell people like, "Hey, man, get your shit together. You need to talk to God. Maybe he needs to come and tell you that he's there for you, and you need to get your shit together because that's someone that's on your team when you think that no one's there for you at all. Because I tell you right now, there was times in my life and I didn't have shit, and all I had was a bag of weed and God's word. And I know that sounds fucking corny to a lot of people, but I tell you right now, I know a lot of people that have been on the streets and they will stab you if you say some bad shit about Jesus. But that's just me.
Now, once again, I told you this. I'm pretty sure in the past, like it's not the whole God thing that makes me drive away from Him. It's the people that follow Him.
That's the worst part about it because it's like they should be more welcoming and less judgmental. It's like you ever heard about Islam? They have, I think it's the one percenter, right? And it talks about the person that started the one percenter. I forgot. I gotta look this up to be more accurate because I don't want to really like say anything wrong about it. But the whole premise of it is, to them, they don't believe in drinking or sex before marriage, gambling, doing drugs. But to them, they say, well, if I'm doing it to come and tell you to be Islam, it's okay to do it then. And they're real deep into numerology and shit like that. You know what I mean? But I feel like I come from like the same type of perspective. Like God doesn't want me to smoke and drink, and God doesn't want me to go fucking do bad shit to people. I'm not saying I go fucking murder people and shit like that. But if I had to slap someone upside the head because they're talking shit to me, I know I shouldn't do that. But I know what it feels like to be in those shoes for those people. You know. Like I remember one time one of my buddies was telling me like, yeah, the homie got caught up. This and I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, he stabbed some fool. I was like, what? What do you mean? He's like, well, he was arguing with his neighbors. The neighbors came out. His pregnant wife was out there with him. Fucking, she got punched in the head, so he had to stab her. And he's like, well, I would understand you have to hurt a motherfucker, but you don't have to stab him. Like, god damn, man. It just for me, it's like I know what that feels like though. So there's sometimes when shit happens to you, you feel like you have to do something back to them because of what they done to you. You know, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but I feel when people have to be in that situation. Like one time, there's one dude too. Like I was doing music with him a long time ago, like doing the recording on that shit. And during the time he was at my house, they shot up his house, and he has family, has kids, and he's like, "Well, I had to go shoot up their house." I was like, "Well, fuck, man, I understand, but what did you do to get in a situation where motherfuckers are shooting up your house?" You know? He's like, what are
And
you doing in life that's so bad that people are doing that type of shit to you? And that's why I tell people, like, just try to do right, Stand on your own too, stand by your respect. But I know it's hard, man. It's hard sometimes people want to test you. But
I know
that's
this
just the
might
matter.
sound insane to some people, but especially when you turn 13, you should know the difference between right and wrong. In your mind, you give like this and that, that. You know left and right. You know what's right, what's wrong. And for those who And that's what drives me away. Those who follow Christ and they fucking do some sin. Like I sin all the fucking time. Your body is supposed to be the temple for Christ. And yet here I am. I vape. I smoked for 20 years. I drink here and there. I smoke weed. I do. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't done what God wants me to do to make it to the kingdom of heaven. I've done a lot of negative in my past, but I've done a lot of positive. Especially the last half of my life, it's probably been more positive. But when I was a teenager, you're damn right. Was I rebellious? Yeah. Did I cause havoc? Yeah. Did I do damage to people? Yeah.
Yeah, the way I see it is, I feel like God only wants you to ask for forgiveness for what you've done. Just because you did something bad doesn't mean it's all bad for you. You know, as long as you acknowledge it. That's my opinion, and it was crazy about it too. I for somehow I was drinking last night and got like, oh, we're gonna go take my mother-in-law to go to church, and I ended up being in the church there with them. Man, what I was telling you now, like they were pretty much preaching about. I think it was Mateo 3-4, and he was talking about that. You know, like. What was I just fucking saying? Sorry, I got distracted right now. Yeah, just fucking acknowledge that you're doing something wrong. Besides, Moses was a murderer, and people don't realize that too. Moses was one of the most highly regarded, Christians there is. Moses was a murderer, and God forgave him for that. And when it comes down to, that's one of the unforgivable sins. But that just goes to show you, everyone's strife in life is different, no matter what it is. There's people that kill people on accident too, and they're forgiven. And it's their own personal battles that they have to deal with. So everyone has their own shit. It just try to be a good person. That's all that matters, really. Well, anyways, enough with the Jesus talk. I know you guys are getting boring over there. So
just really quick,
Xavier,
I was gonna say, can Xavier get a word on this? What can you add?
Honestly, when it comes down to it, I just learned to respect everybody's beliefs, and I really have no opinion on it,
Nothing
you guys
at
are
all.
eating it up over there.
Sorry, dude. I'm trying to eat. Yeah, I had dinner.
You're good. But no, I mean, honestly, growing up, I did go to church. My grandma and my grandpa, they were both pastors in the church. So from like 5 years old to maybe 10 or so, 7, I was always going to church. And I think honestly, as time went on, I kind of lost that belief, because at a young age, it was forced onto me. It wasn't brought to me naturally, So growing up, I'm baptized. I lost faith. I'm baptized. I really don't know how to feel about it. So for the meantime, until I can actually have some good proof and like a good belief on something, then from this, I'll just stay as an atheist, and I've always been like that. But I don't know. I mean, when it comes to everybody else's religions, I respect it. Everybody has an opinion on different things, especially when it comes to religion. But
you yourself don't have anyone you follow.
Yeah, like I don't really have someone to follow. I mean, I look at every religion and I see where they all come from, and I do respect certain things. But as far as me like clinging on to a religion, I don't have anything, honestly. I'm like in the middle. I'm in a gray area.
Okay. So let's bring up another topic. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I want to start with you, Anthony, and I want to have X answer next after you, and then Anthony. Now, I need a story behind this. Okay, this can't be something you just want to be like simple say. Like I need a true, full allocated story about everything that you think on how it's going to go down. I told you guys this before in the past about talking about zombies, like how it's gonna happen. My prediction it was with mushrooms on someone hippie like my personal thing. So Skylar, the hippie, decides to crawl up the fucking mountain one day, and this motherfucker decides to pick some mushrooms and he eats them, turning, not knowing that one of the mushrooms was a hybrid mushroom like the ones that the ants eat, and it starts growing from the ant's head and whatnot. But instead of growing from the head, it would actually take over the body, but make it go into a rage state. So mine would be a guy named Skylar growing through like Oregon mountains, and I'm going to say it happens in Oregon, Washington area, and he goes back to, let's just say, Washington, and it's in Seattle, and he gets infected overnight, like to the point where it fully takes over because he thinks at first he has like a flu-like symptom, and he goes to this hotel and he sleeps, and once he falls asleep, the mushroom fully takes over, and then he goes in this rage mode, destroys the whole city of Seattle. Cops don't know what to do. People die. Blah blah blah.
That's pretty good.
So,
pretty good.
hold on, let me put on my brewski hat. It's fucking cold out here. Cold as shit out here today. How you doing? Cold as shit out this motherfucker. I'm out in the garage because the kids are wreaking havoc inside. I'm sorry. So your question is, how do you feel the end of the times will come? And your opinion is it's gonna be like an infection from like some shit growing and some weird dirty foot fucking hippie eating it and then taking that shit to Seattle, fucking hipster central, and it spreads everywhere because those motherfuckers are everywhere. I get you. I feel like to me, I don't think that's not gonna happen. Nah, I don't think so. I mean, they're dirty. A lot of dirty ass motherfuckers out there eating random shit and going and getting their sicko fucking friends sick and shit. You know, I don't know. I don't think that's what's gonna happen. I feel like it's gonna be like, I feel like they're gonna fake an apocalypse with aliens is what's gonna be the end. Because when it comes down to it, it's what you're unknown, what you don't know scares you the most. So I feel like people are gonna get real scared about that. They're gonna be like, "Oh shit, the aliens are coming," and they're kind of like building up this hype in pop culture and fucking movies and about all this UFOs and shit like that. And they're creating uncertainty, and I feel like that's what's gonna be in the end. And I think aliens are spirits. I don't think they're anything weird. And if they are some physical being, I feel like there's some weird fucking experiment that the government made on purpose.
So
Like some
for
fucking
me,
weird human hybrid motherfucker. Who knows? Maybe that was fucking Joe Schmo's fucking DNA that he went to the sperm bank with, and they took it and made a bunch of weirdo fucking alien babies, and they put them in a fucking alien spacecraft that they made in the '80s, and it's coming hovering down, and everyone's fucking losing their minds and shit. I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
no, okay. What about you, X?
Honestly, when it comes to the world ending, I feel like it's gonna be scientists to fuck it up. You know, like how scientists like to experiment on a bunch of things on random stuff. So, for example, they can have like monkeys caged up, and they're just testing these random viruses that they made. What I'm thinking is that some activists decide, oh, okay, let's fucking break them out. Like in 28 days, 28 weeks later, you know, the humans' right activists, they break into a research lab and then they set free some monkeys that were already infected with this virus. Next thing they bite. Next thing these monkeys are biting these animal activists and these fucking, and then it just spreads like wildfire. I think if that were to happen, it would spread pretty fucking quick, because of how.
Good points. I feel like that's some of the things that would potentially happen. You know
Yeah.
that the New World government. Right? You ever heard about the Mad Main fucking stone tablets they put up? I think it was somewhere in Georgia or something like that. Those 3 tablets, and they have them in Spanish, English, French, and some shit like that. And it's like a list of things, and one of them says like to bring the population down by X amount, like because I know right now we're like at a few billion. They want to bring it down to like a couple 100 million, and I feel like that should really fucking is strange. And this is something I've heard about too, like people that do bad shit. To them, if they tell you they're doing something bad, they clear themselves of feeling that they're responsible because they told you before it was going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. They
And
they
I
would.
like a lot of people say like symbolism and like how people say the Simpsons keeps predicting shit. I feel like whoever owns the Simpsons is putting symbols out for bad things to happen, so they're not they don't feel spiritually responsible about the bad shit they do to people in the world.
Okay, it's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Well, what you think, Xavier? You think that's something that happens?
That fucking TV or they send symbols to like warn people or to wish bad on everybody. That
No,
is,
like how they sometimes they predict bad things happen. Remember when that you remember when that shooting happened down in Colorado in Aurora, Colorado, when that dude went in there to the Batman movie and fucking killed all those people and shit? You remember that shit?
well,
They were
no,
talking about that time, right? Around that time, fucking one of this fucking rapper, right? He had a music video where he was in a movie theater with skeletons all around, and he was putting his hands over his ears like this, and that's before the shooting happened too. I feel like that symbolism in American culture that tell you what type of shit's gonna happen.
I have seen stuff like that with rappers when they would, they would predict their own deaths or they would call out certain things and hide, subliminal messages, uh, talking about their death on how they're going to die, when they're going to die. Is like, I feel like there's some play here, like I feel like someone contacts them way ahead of time and they just let everybody know before it's too late. So yeah, I can see
Premonitions,
that.
but I think premonitions and symbolism is a different thing, right? So like premonitions are like people that have dreams or like visions of things that are to happen in their lives personally. But I feel like symbolism is more different because like I feel like whoever does this type of shit, like you ever heard about how you can get all the money like 5, 10, 20, and a 50 and $100 bill, fold them in half, and you'll see like the gradual picture of a plane hitting the Twin Towers.
Yeah,
You ever seen that shit? I feel like
yeah,
Yeah,
that's like why do they have it on money though? Why do they have to have it on money? And not only one bill, but they have a gradual fucking scene of it getting exploded and shit like that. There's a lot of symbolism in America. Like why do we have Latin on the back of our money with the pyramid eye and shit like that? The Eye of Horus. That's Egyptian things. And my grandpa used to always tell me, right, because he was kind of studied a little bit, but his dad was a medicine man, and his dad was a medicine man in the Navajo Nation. So he tell me about like different tribal people and like people that do magic, and he used to always tell me the Egyptians have strong magic. Like good, it's not good medicine, but they have strong magic, and that goes to show you too, like how many people to this day still use symbolism from Egyptian culture, like the Eye of Horus or the fucking pyramid shit that those motherfuckers do all the time at the Super Bowl. Why the fuck do you gotta go do this? For what? Are you see people that sit down and they put their hands together like this, like Elon Musk or the president? They're sitting down and they make this sign. Like, why do you put your hands together like that? What's the real reason that you have that symbolism? Or how about this? I bet you both of you guys like playing fucking Call of Duty all the time. What's that Treyarch symbol with the three triangles that meet together like a star? That's a
yeah,
what
I've
black
about
magic
seen
it?
it.
symbol too. You know that? And that goes back
Yeah,
to the Egyptian time. That's a black magic
but,
symbol from
but,
Egyptian culture from a
but
long
we
time
we
ago.
use for a hospital. We use what is it? A cane with a snake around it, which was Santana's back in the day.
I think the
We
Pope he has a staff like that with two serpents coming around and meeting at the top. Like, why does
right,
the Pope need
and
to
if you
have
look
that?
into the symbol, it's a Satan symbol. Like it goes into Satanism.
Exactly. I feel like
But yeah, we
Catholicism is a
use
way
it
for them to hide
for hospital.
a lot of Catholicism beliefs. I feel like it has to do with the cult beliefs and like occult rituals and shit they want to hide. Because they say that a lot of people that migrated to America from like Ireland and Europe and all these places they came and they hid their pagan worship and their fucking magic and shit in Catholicism. Because that's the thing too. Like people don't realize like Christianity and Catholicism is different. Because Catholicism they believe in like yeah the Old Testament, but then they have their own type of teachings with the saints and all that shit, you know. And you know this too, Dave, right? God, they say God's jealous and He doesn't want you to praise anyone else. Well, how come in Catholicism, like I'm Mexican too, you know, I grew up in East LA, so my grandpa had a Virgin Mary fucking behind all a big old portrait of Virgin Mary with candles and all that. Like, why do you have to do that? How come that can't be Jesus? You know. That's why I don't really like Catholicism. And you ever
And
think
he,
about this too? You ever see like movies with like weird devil worshipful shit, and then so happen to be there in a Catholic church, like that one movie with fucking what is it, Al Pacino, where he plays the devil? You ever seen that shit?
no,
I know you've seen that movie, Dave.
uh,
When in the
not.
movie he's in two places at one time. He's the devil, but he's in a church and he's in a Catholic church, and it's like what? But they never do that shit in like in a Christian church. It's always in a Catholic church or something to do with Catholicism.
Damn. No, but he does say that in the Bible that God says that He is a jealous God. And for those, I'm just saying, like, not to say
You're all pixelated like the devil, Dave. What's going on over there?
what's that? Oh, am I? Am I still
Fuck, Xavier,
pixelated?
how was your day?
It's all right, man.
Where's the beer at?
No beer today, just water.
Max, can you hear me?
Damn.
I can hear
I
you,
almost
man.
didn't drink today because
Am I
I got
pixelated
fucking
on there?
hungover as shit.
You're a little
I hit it
pixelated.
too
Yeah.
hard. Me too?
No, you're good.
I'm gonna refresh my stuff. I'll be right
Dave
back.
still.
No,
Ah,
man.
he got out of here.
Yeah,
He's
he's
gonna probably
setting this whole
fucking.
thing. No, but I'm doing good, man. I haven't really done anything today other than play video games with my little brother. It's honestly good. Catch up with him, you know,
Oh, your
because
family came in? Your brother?
no, he's not here, but he's in Texas, and I play with him online.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
Nothing much. Yesterday was busy. I didn't expect to be that busy. I want to go buy a new gun. Fucking bought like $100 worth of beer to go hang out with my buddy today, but then I fucking got too drunk last night and I ended up not going over there. So I got $100 worth of beer in my house. I gotta go take it to him soon.
Damn. What kind of gun you get?
Oh. I got a 365 XL and then I got a new Glock. I'll just show you right now too. I got a new dot and a new barrel for my gun.
Oh shit.
Whoa.
Check it out. See, can you see the green dot on there? I don't know if you can see it on there. There you go.
Yeah, very faint.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's got the threaded barrel. Badass.
Oh hell yeah.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear
Yeah, I
you.
got a new carry gun this time too. A little baby gun.
Oh
Pretty
shit.
nice. Oh, almost in the hand it fits.
I have yet to get a gun, so
Can you see me?
yeah, I can see you
No.
and I can hear you.
You got a charger?
Oh,
So,
man.
but he does say though he is a jealous God. That is no lie.
Who in the what now?
God in the Bible says he is a jealous God. That is a true fact. That's another reason why I choose not to worship him. Why? Same with my marriage.
Well, isn't your
Like,
wife jealous a little bit too? Everyone was a little jealous, right?
having a little jealousy is
That's
okay,
right.
but for you to tell me to cancel out something because you're not okay with it is a whole nother thing. That's like me. Okay, so in perspective, that's like me watching sports or snakes, right? Like I can't do that because I'm putting my time and effort in like doing something like that, but it's wrong. That's wrong. But my constant thought should be with God. When in reality, the U.S. government has and all governments have made it about currency. You don't do anything unless you're making pretty much money now, in this, especially in this day and age, because everything costs so goddamn much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of a fine line of you like having to live a certain lifestyle, and it sucks because now they want to have the society like so money driven. But it's kind of like what kind of a world would we live in if we didn't fucking have money driven things? We wouldn't have nice shit. We wouldn't have all these luxuries. There would just be motherfuckers growing potatoes and watermelons and shit like that. It's like I need this and give me the food for that. It's like all capitalism kind of drove our country into having all the shit we have. You know, that's from my perspective on it.
Hmm. Kind of like
Kind
going
of fucked
back
with the thing.
into
Like, you
the.
can't do shit in this world without working. You can't do nothing without making money. It fucking sucks to think that I can't just live a lifestyle of not doing shit unless I don't want nothing, you know? Because I can live on a bum fucking nowhere in farmland and grow my food and raise animal and cattle for food and wipe my ass with fucking pine cones and shit. But that's not gonna happen, you know? Like, who wants to live like that unless you're really committed to not having to fucking worry about money, you know? That's. But in the end, too, you're gonna still. What happens if your fucking house burns down? Or what happens if you fucking need to go into town because you broke your fucking leg or some shit, you know? Like, you're gonna need a car, you need some gas, you're gonna need something, you know? So it's kind of like no matter what, you're gonna need to rely on capitalism and society to get through.
I agree.
But anyways,
That's a
what
good,
is the next
that's a good
topic?
point.
Are we done on this topic of skinwalkers? Are we still going?
I have nothing more to really add to it unless Xavier yourself does.
Neither do I.
So before we started everything, I told X that when we brought up this certain topic, that we should really pay attention to his background. We're going to get into the paranormal, and we're going to see something move, X, right behind you.
No, you're not.
You're gonna just see
I
a
have-
smile.
I
There's just
have
gonna be a
not
smile right
done-
behind you.
I have not done anything to it. Maybe like right there. No. I do have a lot of paranormal experience. I grew up witnessing a bunch of things happening, and I believe I do have an attachment. But paranormal activity, paranormal as a whole, you know, just the thought of there is another world where spirits can walk, you know, on Earth. You know, I think that's pretty cool, and I think, like, I mean, I believe in it, you know. And when I say I grew up with all this kind of stuff, I did. I mean, starting from the age of 5, I lived in a house where there was a family killed. It was the man of the house who killed him, the father, the husband. He ended up killing the son and his daughter, killed his wife, and then killed himself. But years and years later, we moved into that house, and it was like small stuff that I've experienced. You know, things moving, doors closing on themselves. But I think the craziest thing that happened that made me actually believe was when I was asleep. I remember I never slept in my room because I always felt that room specifically felt off to me. So I would often fall asleep in the living room. And well, this particular day, I was real tired, and I just didn't want to sleep in the living room, so I slept in my room. Well, and not even like a few hours later, I wake up screaming and hollering, like, you know, I saw something or something happened to me. So both my mom and my dad, they came into the room, and well, they're checking up on me, seeing what's wrong, and I tell them, like, a little boy hit me. And sure enough, they lifted up my shirt, and there's a handprint of a little kid. And as I look to the closet, because my bed is right here, and so is the closet, you know. So I look to the closet, and I see a pale white face, black eyes, and black hair staring at me. And it kind of like, it was like that. It was like that, and it went like this. So I never slept in that room again. I always stuck to sleeping in the living room. Years later, my mom and my aunt, they were in a room with my sister and my brother, and I was in the living room. I faintly remember this, but from what my mom and my aunt said, they were talking and everything, you know, chatting it up with the kids. And next thing they know, they see a pair of glowing red eyes staring into the window, looking at them. And they start freaking out. So they get, you know, my aunt, she gets her husband at the time, and they all four of them or all three of them run out the house. They run circling around the house. It's not a big house. It's a fairly small house. And, well, they said they couldn't find anything except for an owl hanging out in the tree. And when they looked at the ground when they looked at the ground in the morning to check it out, it was hooves. Like how do you go from seeing a pair of red eyes to seeing an owl in a tree to seeing hooves in the morning? Is I guess weird to think that there is some sort of paranormal world where like spirits, good, bad, and even demons can walk on Earth. And I mean, I feel like a lot of people have experiences with that stuff.
So that's kind of trippy though. You saw the owl, and then you saw the hooves. But so could that not be a Lamb of God, a hoof, showing you that you need to walk a certain way, or was that the ram of the devil?
Oh, don't tell me that
honest-
devil shit now. Here we
To
go.
be honest, man, I don't know, because later on in life, later on when I grew up, I was like 17. My mom would tell me she would have these weird dreams, like nightmares of her being chased. And every time she would wake up, like in dream form, she would wake up and nobody else was awake. She tries waking up everybody and nobody was awake. So she walks around trying to wake somebody up, and in the windows she sees this animal / humanoid creature. I mean, from what she said, it was the head of a ram, the body of a man, arms of a goat, and like feet and legs as a pig, and it was kind of chasing after her. So
Oh, what's his name? Hold on. Baphomet. She saw Baphomet.
is that what that is?
Or also AKA Jerome.
Jerome.
It's a Baphomet.
Okay.
What that happened? Remember when you were telling us about when your uncle saw the owl outside? Was it the daytime or nighttime?
It was during the night.
All right, because they
I was
say
gonna
too,
say-
like when you see owl in the daytime, it means someone in the family is gonna die. Or-
Yeah. No, it was an owl during the night, but at the same time, I lived in the part of Texas where it's right by the borders. So a lot of witchcraft, and a lot of evil things happen around that area, specifically around that time. Because you have a lot of people who are doing all these curses, all these rituals, for their gains only. Nobody else, is just for theirs. Because they do that, it opens up so many portals everywhere in Texas that you're bound to see something paranormal, and that brings me back. That brings me on to another story where I lived in Fort Worth. I was 16. We moved to Fort Worth, and we moved into these apartments. What I never found out until later on was that that entire apartment complex was built on a native burial ground. And the thing about native burial grounds is that if you disrespect it, and if you're building, like specifically building things on top, destroying these things and building on top of them, you're not only disrespecting the graveyard itself, but you're also disrespecting the soldiers, the people that had their tribe there. So because of that, I see why when it comes to native burial grounds or things like paranormal, when it comes to native culture, I see why most of the time it's always angry spirits, because they're trying to get their revenge. They see that they've been disrespected, like bad, so they're gonna haunt that land. And I don't blame them. I don't. And when I lived in those apartments, I had experienced a lot of things, like the doors slamming on the apartments. My neighbor downstairs claims that she saw my little sister standing outside of our apartment, but in reality, my sister was inside. And we had the door locked. So it's weird how she says that, you know. And my sister also had these Lala Loopsy dolls. I don't know if y'all remember those, the little dolls with the fucking buttons for eyes and shit. Well, she had a couple, and my aunt, she said after getting in an argument with somebody she was with at the time, she went to the room to cry her eyes out. And when she looked up, my sister had her closet door open, and her Lala Loopsy doll was propped up right there looking at my aunt. My aunt swears up to down that when she saw that doll, that the eyes were crying as well, like it was feeling her fucking pain, you know. And it's weird. I've experienced a lot of things in those apartments, and I've have like in general, you know. But another time is when I was alone in the house. I remember I was going through a deep depression, so I was always in the house by myself. And well, one of these days, one of the days I was there by myself, I started hearing weird stuff in like coming from my mom's room. So I go in and I thought was my mom, but you know how sometimes air will get trapped under a blanket and it'll create some sort of bubble.
Kind
I
of a
did
fucking
that.
blanket you got.
Yeah, I don't know, but I walked up to it thinking it was my mom, so I was trying to wake her up, and then it went like that, like it was deflating. So I was like, oh, it's just a fucking air bubble, cool. So I remember I jumped on the fucking bed and thinking nothing of it. Next thing I know, I hear a loud, deep growl, and what ended up happening was after that happened, I was thrown off of the bed, and I remember slamming into the fucking wall. So being freaked the fuck out, I ran out the room, and it's like as I ran out that room, the door just slammed on itself, like really hard, and I see two pairs of feet, and then after that, nothing, and then a pair of glowing red eyes. Now I don't know if it was the same thing that happened over there where with my aunt and them, but from that point on, I always felt like wherever I went, I had an attachment. You know. Now I don't know if it's something evil, but the thing is, spiritually, I'm strong spiritually. So because they say the more weak you are mentally, the more weak you are spiritually, the more prone you are to have an attachment. You know, spirits
Yeah,
see.
that is true. Another thing I would like to add in that too is being spiritually strong. It means to be emotionally strong too. Like people that are emotionally driven, a lot of the times those people get fucked with a lot too spiritually by bad things. At least that's my opinion. I see a lot of people that get scared easily, or they get emotionally driven and they can't handle their emotions. Those are the type of people that get fucked with.
Yeah.
See, that's a touchy one for me. We could go really in depth on this one. How many times can you name? Probably not very many, but how many uh, times can you name that a Christian had to get an exorcism? Quite a bit, right? Like there's more, right? Compared to a Satanist, correct?
Hold on, what was that again? You keep timing out. What happened now?
So, with that being said, with Xavier, and you talk about the paranormal and all that, and how many Christians are known to have exorcism compared to Satanists?
Personally, I
Well,
do
it's
not
not
know.
only Christians. It's a lot of people that have exorcisms
Well,
that get possessed. A lot of
it's
people.
it's pretty much the same God if you want to break it down. Like, I'm not saying native wise, but I'm saying like when people believe in like Virgin Mary, you still believe in heaven, you still believe in God. You might believe slightly different, but you still believe in the same aspect. Okay, but regardless if you're Christian, Catholic, how many of those people have you seen get exorcisms done on them? But yet, how many Satanists, how many Luciferians, have you seen that get done too? And I'll tell you, the number's pretty low to one side compared to the other. It's because, and this is my personal opinion, and everyone can judge me for it or whatnot, but it's because you have the wrong faith in the wrong God.
And that may be your opinion, but when it comes down to it, a lot of Satanists probably walk around with some demons in them. You probably got fucking one in you right now too, with that smile on your face. But who knows?
Honest,
You want that to
honestly,
happen, though.
every
You
day.
want that to
Like,
happen, right?
okay, so let me
To us,
explain
like
this.
the
So,
different people in the world are that happen to them, and they go through the struggle of trying to get cleansed and not have them fuck with them. It's different for Satanists, whoever people that want it to happen to them. They embrace that, so to them, it's not a big deal.
correct. So, like last night, me and my wife were laying in bed, right? And we're watching Bob's Burgers, and out of nowhere, we hear a big, loud thump. We come in the kitchen, we found out that half of the shit that were a few boxes that were on the stove fell off. There was no possible explanation. The window's not open, the AC's not on, the heater's not on, there's no way. So, I mean, am I going to say that it can't happen? No, but the odds of it actually causing negative to my living being to wonder if I'm going to die or am I going to go to heaven or am I going to hell or whatever the sake may be. I'm just saying, in my own personal opinion, it's because you follow a way that man has portrayed to be right the whole time, and in reality, it is the wrong perspective, and you need to maybe focus on the right perspective, and that may be a change of heart because you got to understand from my point of view, and this is only from my point of view. You guys grew up completely different than I did. But I grew up Pentecostal Christian. I was in the choir. I did everything from going to church to Christian church. I mean, like I did an advanced class recently. It My loyalty cannot lie with the way they have proclaimed God to be.
And that's your choice in life, and that's what's great about being an American and about being given the choice. The greatest God given gift that He's given us is having the choice to pick what we want to do in life, and that's the choice you want to pick. So we gotta respect that. A lot of people probably talk shit and say, "Well, how can you be on a podcast with a Satanist?" Like, well, I'm not fucking worshiping Satan. I ain't got no snakes in my house. I don't give a fuck what he does in his time. That's him. Whatever. And that goes back to like how you say about how many people that are Christians have bad things happen to them. Well, like how right now too, like they feed off that bad energy, right? Like I was saying, when bad things are around, and say like it's a Christian or whoever else, and they don't understand it like how you do, they're gonna get scared about that shit. And it brings negative energy, and if they feed off that shit, whatever bad spirits around, they feed off the fear, the uncertainty,
But
the
but
unknowing
see
what to do.
and I
Well, if it's
in
happened to
my
you though, right? It would be different because for you, you kind of welcome you. It's uncertain, but to you, it's like I'm not worried about that because this and that because you have your own viewpoints already, your own set viewpoints as a Satanist. But as a Christian and someone that's spiritually thinking like I need to fight, it's different. I'll tell you about this story right now, right? Too. So, I used to know this one guy, and he was a Satanist too. He did one of my tattoos. This guy used to slam glass, crystal, and I know people that done hard drugs. When you do heroin, those people when they come down off of heroin bad, they want to kill themselves. People that come down hard on crystal, they want to kill other people. This guy was crazy. He liked to slam heroin, and this guy was all about Satan worship. He had a pentagram right here on his hand. Yeah, he had all kinds of 666s on him and shit like that. And he was a tattoo artist, right? So one of my buddies that used to sell dope to him, he go see him, whatever. So one of the times they were there selling him dope or whatever, one of the dudes in the neighborhood, he was all about being a Christian, this and that. He had 777 on his forehead right here, right? He's all about coming around, but he would smoke weed still and all that, right? But he was a little weird. So one day he comes over and he tells him, "Hey, what's up?" And he so happened to bump into them while dead worshiper guys over there fucking buying dope off him. "Hey, what's up?" This and that, and he gets scared because he sees that pentagram on his hand. He's like, "What the fuck?" So he trips out. So he gets scared and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go." Takes off, and they're still hanging out there, whatever. So the dead worshiper guy he leaves, whatever. So my buddy and his other friend that sold him the dope, they're hanging out in the neighborhood still. That dude comes and says, "Hey man, you guys got a chainsaw?" The 777 guy. Oh yeah, we'll let you borrow it, whatever. He goes and comes back later with his hand wrapped like this on the towel, gives him the fucking chainsaw and says, "Hey, it broke. I don't know what happened." Come to find out, that guy got so scared of that dude with this pentagram in his hand. He said he's in a marking with the mark of the devil, this and that. So he got it in his mind saying, "Well, he can't put that on me if I don't have a hand to put it on." So he was trying to cut his hand off because he got that scared of someone with a pentagram on their hand. And that just goes
That's
to show you
crazy.
people are influenced in the wrong ways. And if you're spiritually strong and mentally strong and you know where you're coming from, like I feel like you can these are the battles that we go through all the time, you know?
But
And what's crazy
do
about
you
that devil
think?
worshiper guy too, that guy would always have his fucking devil Bible out. What happened?
No, go ahead.
No, that guy would always have his devil Bible out, right? But every time he go get caught up and go to prison, do a little prison time, he'd be changed right into a Christian, reading his Bible every day. As soon as he got out, started smoking dope and shooting up dope again, and then he was a devil worshiper again.
See, I'm already. I've been on both sides once again. I figured out my side, and it's up to everyone else to figure out theirs. But at the end of the day, dude, like honestly, no bullshit, straight up. And honestly, we could do this when we do the live stream, like together in person, and we're all at Permanent Lake. But we should play the Ouija board. You guys should get close.
Nah, I'm not doing that shit. I'll tell you right now. I got a couple stories. I got a couple. You guys want to get into paranormal shit, right? I can tell you something about me. I can tell you something about happened in my family. I can tell you other stories that happen to people that smoke dope so crazy that they start having shit happen to them and follow them in the streets. Like I can tell you some stories. All right, the Ouija board story, right? This is why I don't want to fuck with that, and it's bad because you open spiritual gates that are not meant to be open. It's like you're doing it in the wrong way. Remember, I told you about how they say Native Americans when they do witchcraft to be skinwalkers, they're doing medicine in the wrong way, and it brings about bad things. And I feel like when you do that, you're opening a portal to things that only are bad. And I don't need that shit in my life. Fuck all that. But yeah, one time my mom back in the day, they used to live in East 9th Street here in Reno. And my mom and my auntie one time they had a Ouija board, and some lady in the neighborhood gave it to. Some creepy ass old lady, probably fucking your buddy too, David. Probably know who that lady is, huh? But yeah, she came over there, gave him a Ouija board. Here, you got something nice for you kids, this and that. They were fucking with it in the house, right? And then they started seeing like those red eyes, like you were saying too, Xavier. My mom was like, "Yeah, we got scared because it started giving us weird answers, so we stopped playing it." And then we started seeing like things fly, like get thrown in the air, and like land, just crazy shit being thrown around, like the remote, the a book on the floor, chair getting knocked over, and they started hearing weird like laughing and noises in the hallway. And they're like, "What the fuck?" So they open the door, and in the dark of the closet, they seen red eyes in there. I'm like, "What the fuck?" And you guys don't laugh at this part, right? This is the '80s when that happened. My mom's, she was young with my auntie. They were scared, so they want to go to the room and go to sleep. She said, my mom told me, "I swear to God, people think it's fucking funny, and it's not funny." She said, "I swear I seen fucking Michael Jackson moonwalk into the room from the hallway, do a spin, and turn into the devil in front of me."
What the fuck?
My mom's not crazy. She's not. And I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" She's like, "For real. Like, I seen that shit and it scared the shit out of me." And it was all from them playing the Ouija board. And what's crazy, they tried to get rid of it and it kept appearing, like, to try to throw it away or whatever. It was still like, it'll appear in the house somewhere. So they had to go take it and burn it to get rid of
So
it.
if I buy you something, would you keep it?
I'm sorry, Dave. No disrespect, but I don't think I can take that to my house.
I never said it would be the Ouija board.
I don't know, though, man. There's curses that can come on all kinds of things. You never know. That's why thrifting is cool and all. You want to go fucking find some random shit. What if it's some devil worshiper fucking house where he did sacrifices on with fucking kitty cats or some shit like, and then some bad fucking weird shit's on. Fuck all that. I'm good, buddy.
You know,
I'm
you know how
alright.
many you know how many cats go missing in Florida because snakes eat them?
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, anyways, so get into a real good story. So you want to hear the one with the dope head lady, or you want to hear the shit that happened to me?
You.
All right. So around this time, I was living with my grandma in the ghetto out here in Reno, right? So if you guys, no one knows, when I was a kid, and I was about 13, about to be 14, I left LA and was on my own. I pretty much took off to come up to Reno. So I live with my mom and my stepdad. And I remember that night I just took off. I fucking took my shit and just went down the street to my buddy's house. And my real dad, he drove me up to Reno and dropped me off and let me just be here at my grandma's house. And I'll Point it out right now. And my auntie are the type of people, they'll get mad about some shit and they'll kick you out. So it was always on thin ice over there, right? So we'd always do bad shit. You know, we'd sell drugs outside the window, like weed and dope out the window, like it's McDonald's. To the point where they came and raided the house because of that shit, right? So one of the times, he had a long night, you know, going hanging out, partying and shit. Came home after doing some fucking so I had some ecstasy and did a little bit of cocaine that night, right? So I came home that night, trying to go to sleep, and this is how I tell you to like how the doors say you open up the doors of perception in your mind when you do drugs. I believe in that heavily,
Yeah.
because that night I tried to go to sleep and I couldn't. And this was back in the days when we still had headphones in our iPods and shit. So I'm like long night at party, so it was like 3 a.m. I'm like, fuck, I gotta go to sleep. But the apartment that we lived in at the time, it was a weird fucking apartment. I'd always see shit in the hallway. Like how you said, you see something at the corner of a doorway. It's always a doorway or a hallway or something. It's like right here, and they peek their head out like this, and they come back in. That it's like a
Yeah.
white figure that you see. We'd always see that shit. And what was crazy, we'd always see fucking, or we'd always hear things in the middle of the night. So we'd be laying there, right? So there's two twin beds, but we'd have like another bed in the corner because motherfuckers come over and spend the night, whatever. But there'd be nights where everyone's passed out and you would just hear like a knocking because we had a restroom in the room. So like you come at the end of the hallway, you come to the room, that's the room, and then within the room there's a closet that led into a little restroom. So in that closet, you know, you open that closet door and then go in there, and then to the left there's a little room for the restroom, right? So
Hmm.
there's two doors in there. So you close the restroom door, you come out into that little closet way, and then you close that door. So we'd always keep the door closed, but I'd always hear knocking on it, and it would fuck with me too because I would hear it knock, and then it would get louder, and then it would start banging. I was like, what the fuck? Like to the point where not I was the only one that heard the shit. A lot of people come over, they spend the night, and then would like, I'm not coming back over there for I heard shit all night, and we had a computer desk with a computer, and we hear the clicking of the mouse, like click 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 click, click, like real fast. Like there was always some weird shit going on in there like that, you know. So one night, I'm coming down at the party, I'm trying to lay down, couldn't go to sleep, so I'm listening to my iPad. You know, I'm laying at the end of the bed. It's a twin size bed, and we had this couch that was just the perfect size of a twin size bed, so we put it right at the twin size bed, right? So as I'm laying there, I'm like towards the edge like this, and you know, at the top of the little couch that's at the end of the bed, and I'm falling asleep barely, and then I open my eyes and I seen this lady laying on the couch sideways. So if this is the bed, right? And at the end here's the couch, and my head's right here, and the couch is right here. So it looks like a lady laying sideways with her head over here, and my head's looking that way directly at her when I open my eyes, and I have my hand out like this with my iPad or my iPod, and I swear I seen her go like this and go through my hand like she was gonna grab it, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? So like we had another little chair in front of that, like a little old school like a school chair, like those blue ones with the metal, and I swear I seen this little fucking thing. It was a little demon, and it was on that chair, and it was about like 3 foot tall. And you know how you always see like videos of like little demons, how they have half their body is goat legs, and then the rest of the top of their body like is regular, and then they have the swirly horns. Like you ever seen fucking Hercules? You seen that movie, right?
It's a baphomet.
But yeah, that Hercules movie is exactly how I seen that little fucker. And he was sitting on the chair with his foot up, right? And he was like fucking with his little hoof and shit. And as soon
You
as he seen me, he
normally
was like,
see them
"Oh
like
shit!"
this.
He
This
stopped and
is
like
what
realized I could see him, and he jumped up and ran away. And I was like, "What the fuck?" That shit tripped me out so bad. I jumped up out of the bed, right, and I ran out to the through the hallway to the living room because my auntie was still up for some fucking reason. So I run through the hallway, and the hallway's dark, but I swear I seen like all this like dark shadowiness, like just dark shadows getting darker as I'm running through the hallway. And I knew it was whatever the fuck was fucking with me was following me from the room through the hallway and shit. I remember that night too. That shit was crazy.
it's a baphomet.
Who knows what it was? It was weird shit. My cousin
No,
one
no,
time
look
told
it
me
up.
that she
Look
was
it up.
at the same.
Look up baphomet.
No, I ain't doing that shit. Sorry, buddy.
Xavier, can you look it up? It's a half man, half goat, and he holds his fingers like this.
I know you're talking about, yeah, it's like the symbolism for Satanism and shit. But it wasn't like that though. His face was a regular face. He looked like the character from Hercules, like Danny DeVito's character. How he just like
Yeah,
had
but
a
he
man's
still has
face
a
with the
goat face.
horns. He looked just like that, and he was short too. He was a little short motherfucker. That's what tripped me out because it was short, and I was for me to wake up and see like the smokiness of it, it was weird. It's like when you see something like that, it was like you can see them clearly, but like at a certain point of their body, it's just like smoke, like dark white smoke.
See, like Lucifer gets a bad name. If you break down the name, Lucifer stands for bearer of light or bringer of light. If he's the bringer of light and we believe that God or Christ or the Holy Spirit is light, then he's the bringer of light, is he not? So why is it that there's so much negative with the devil, but with people that believe in God, there's a lot more negative? See, that's why I'm saying there's a lot more to dig into, and like not to blow people's faith because I'm not here to break anyone's faith, but at the same time, it's hard for me to believe that a God that is so jealous for you to want to watch or be like, oh my God, like Tom Brady or Brett Favre and all these guys that played football or basketball or baseball, like they're great athletes, but yet if you put them on a certain pedestal, now you're idolizing, which becomes God being jealous. So, yeah.
It's true. That's why they say too. Like when you go to a concert, it's like you're worshiping and idolizing a person that you're at the concert for. It's like that's what leads into the next subject of mine. Once we get past this, but yeah, that's my paranormal side of things. I'll give you one more because it's a little short, right? The last lady. This is why I don't like drugs and like being around people with drugs and shit, right? This lady's crazy bitch. She was with my buddy, right? So she smoked dope and she was those type of people like, I will give you a ride to go sell your dope if you give me dope. She's like, cool, I need a ride. Go take me to sell my dope. So one of these times, right? Crazy bitch. She's the type of person to smoke an 8 ball a day or even more. That's a lot. That's $150 a day habit or even twice that. You know, she was going hard to the point where she lose her fucking mind. She one day they took her kids away, right, and all this shit. So she's at these apartments, fucking smoked out of her fucking mind. She tells us that she sees a lady in her bathroom crying. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean? Just some lady's like, yeah, some lady was in my restroom crying. I went up to her, I was like, what are you crying about? And they're saying she would told her they're gonna come and kill your kids. And she's like, what? So she's a crazy bitch. So she's like trying to fight her or whatever. And then she like turned around, whatever. She disappeared. So this bitch started losing her mind. So she was like, didn't want to be out a lot. She didn't want to be home. She wanted to be out more. So she would tell people, hey, let's go hang out or I'll go take you somewhere, whatever. So one of the times, one of my buddies, right, was like, all right, I need to go somewhere. This and that. So he didn't smoke dope, smoke nothing at the time because he was on probation, but he's still in that life, selling dope, whatever. So he's leaving with her. Him and his homie are leaving with her because she's to go take him somewhere. And she's like, I keep seeing this dude following me in the street. She's like, what do you mean? Every time I leave my apartments, I see this dude in black fucking with me. And this dude seen it too. And he's like, I swear, we're leaving the apartment complex and there looked like a bum with a long black trench coat and like gray skin and boils all over his skin and long beard. And then
So
they stopped in the middle of the road, and this dude ran up and jumped on the fucking hood and licked the windshield. And that dude was like, hell no, that dude better fuck around and find out because he's going to get shot out here. So they took out the fool, whatever, and she was like, that's the dude I keep seeing all the time. And he told me, he's like, fool, I ain't playing. Like, for real, we seen this fool jump on the hood. Like, we seen that shit. And everyone for the while, like, they're like, she's just crazy. She's smoking too much dope. But yeah, man, I feel like when you do bad shit, like smoke dope, and you're around bad people like that, it's like they bring those bad spirits.
for me, I will say though, because Xavier, you bring up yours, Anthony, you bring up yours, I bring up mine. So when I was like, this was in Carson City, Nevada. I was probably 13, 14 years old. There was this house at the corner. I think I told you part of the story, Anthony. There's a house at the corner that, there was people that lived there. They moved out. A year goes by. There's a new tenant, a bunch of party people. They get convicted, and then one day I'm walking past the place, and I'm listening to Slayer, and I'm listening, and I could almost be exact on this point. I was listening to Raining Blood, and during that song, I got my curiosity to be like, oh, what's in this house, and like whatnot. And I remember just seeing a dark figure, and he was in all black, but he had like burned skin, and he had pointed ears. And I remember when walking past that place, I would get like the hairs on my body like to stand up because I was so like nervous or scared, I guess you would say. That when the day I finally like the second week of walking by it, and I did the Ouija board, and I looked into its eyes. It kind of, I don't know like how to say this, but like it kind of infused into my brain to where like I possess that demon. You know what I'm saying? Like I know you guys don't understand exactly what I'm saying, but ever since then, anyone that has done negative to me has faced 10 times the amount that they have done to me. My wife could tell you stories about people fucking me over, and they get fucked over in the long run without me doing anything. And I still believe it's from the demon that still is bound into my heart, mind, and soul. And maybe that's why I'm saying this. Who fucking knows? Like, but at the end of the day, I know I'm on the path. Let me put it this way too. Knowing that I'm not going to make it to heaven, and I'm not one of the few that will, there is I would say, a blood kind of contact between me and God to even that I won't make it, my loved ones will. And I will
I got
So
you.
you won't be the 144?
No, sir.
144.
Only 144,000 when the end of times happens will make it to heaven. The rest will burn and be in their own torment of hell, pretty much.
Damn.
Time comes. That's what they say.
I mean, there's
What's crazy about
more
that
to
time too,
it.
right? Leading up to that is crazy.
But
Yeah.
there ever since me walking past that house being at a young age, I felt like I allowed more of the devil inside me to the point where I don't feel like and not to get weird on you guys, but like I don't feel like it's one if I am possessed by any kind of out being dimension of paranormal, but I would say it's legion. You know what I'm saying? Like there's more than one. Like
Oh,
everyone
don't
says,
start with
"Oh,
that
what?"
bullshit. That's
No,
what
no,
every
hold on.
devil worshiper
No, no.
says.
Everyone's
It's
like,
legion.
I'm gonna believe like I have all these angels around me. Well, at the same time, there's a battle of hell and earth between heaven and hell going on between us. They say in the Bible. If that is true, there's just as many evil negative that people claim to be negative. In my eyes, they're positive.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that.
There's a lot of unknowns in this world, and a lot of things that are not understood.
I guess all we can do really is to just see what happens when we get there, you know?
But you won't know. So that's just it. Like God says it in the Bible that when you die, that you will not. If they were going to hell, you will not remember them. Pretty much verbatim.
Oh.
Like so, like let's just say me and my wife, we love each other. She goes to heaven, she'll never know that I ever existed. Just like let's just no offense, don't take this the wrong way, X, but that's like you going to heaven, your dad not making it. I'm just saying, hopefully he does make it. But like, and you don't remember him. You know what I'm saying? Like he was because God's not gonna. Once you make it to heaven, you can't walk upon sin again. I have sinned so much in my life that I know that I'm not making it. Therefore, I am okay with knowing where I'm going. Is that too much? Too much a little bit?
No. I mean, I can understand everything.
Ant, what about you? You think I did a little too far? A little too much?
Whatever, you have your own beliefs and you believe in them, you know. All I would have to say, Dave, I probably won't have to say it one time because I'd say hopefully you have a good life and hopefully you change your mind because God's there for you and I'd say God bless you. But you make your choice in your life and that's the best gift God's ever given you is to make a choice.
So
You go ahead and
here's the
you
crazy.
express yourself the however way you want to,
You know what? My wife tells me, like, she'll tell you too. Like, I might be for Satan, but it pisses me more off those who are with God because I will defend God. Okay, so like, I don't want to get it twisted out there. Like, I don't believe He doesn't exist and He's not Almighty. Like, God is Almighty. Let me explain that. Even as a Satanist, I will say God is Almighty. And and I will defend his name, but my honor is not with him. That's all I can say.
And that's why you're a new type of Satanist, that day, because there's a lot of Satanists that they're all, their whole living and being is being blasphemy. And you have your own opinions, and you come from an educated point of view, and that's why I'd say I'd respect your point of views, because you're actually educated when you talk about things.
Appreciate that. Once again, I don't want to see
What about
anyone
you,
back.
Xavier, huh?
I mean, like I was saying earlier, when I hear conversations about different religions, and when I hear them go back and forth, just like we're doing, I kind of just like to sit back and like point different things about him. And there are some points that are made, and I see why each religion has its own opinion on that point. So really, when it comes down to it, I just don't know who I want to like believe in.
I will
Because
say, as a true Satanist, like you should believe in God. And but if you take his morals the right way, you'll live a great life. But if you take his morals the wrong way, your life will be nothing but regret.
right. I mean, I guess I can see that. Yeah, I can see that because I mean, a lot of things that's happened in my life, I feel like is because of that. I mean, even though I don't believe in it, and that's the weird thing about how that goes. Even though I don't believe in it, yet there's still some um, sort of like spiritual being that's there to protect me, and bring me to a path to where I know I'm gonna do right. So yeah, I can see it, but
So here's a great thing for you to know if you do choose to believe in God, and like a lot of people like overlook it, but there's this part in Psalms where it tells you that it's a song, of course, but it tells you that like you should believe in God, but every day you should ask help from your guardian angel, which not a lot of people do. They ask everything from God Himself. They don't ask from the angel that is protecting.
I believe
yeah,
that every time I pray, I ask for, give me good understanding, let me be a better man, a better person, a better husband, a better Christian. I don't ask for the things, like physically, like, but it's weird though too. Like I remember at one point when I fucking had nowhere to live, I was living at my fucking mother-in-law's house before I had my first son, and we're just about to go find another apartment. Like, oh, I found an apartment. I just always prayed, like, please help me get into a nice house, a big home, to be able to have nice things. And I wholeheartedly, I wanted that for my family. I had good intentions when I asked for these things, and it happened for us. We lived in a beautiful 2-story home for fucking 3 years. But then during that time, I was always humble, because I remember telling my mom one time this too, because she's like, we never had a really good relationship, me and her. But I remember one time she said, "Oh, you're doing so good," and I said, "Honestly, I can be doing worse off. Next month I could be in a shithole." But I'm always gonna look at people that don't have it as good as me and say, "Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be fine as long as you keep doing the right thing. You're gonna make it happen. Things will happen for you as long as you keep trying. It's gonna make it happen. But if you're out here trying and you want more things, but you're being a fuckhead and you're robbing people or stealing shit or doing bad in life, of course it's not gonna come to you." And yeah, I got humbled real quick because I got put in a 2-bedroom house, and now like I have to be humbled about it and see what the experiences I need to learn from it. It's like, for me, it's like it's making me be closer to my family. Instead of being able to hide out in one part of the house and be away from people, now we're more close together, and I see the reasoning for the struggles I have to go through in my life, because a lot of the things I ask for, God gives me because I ask for it, and in the end, I get it, and I see why. Like, some of the things I ask for are meaningless to me because they're physical things. Because if one day comes, you know, I have to be gone because God says you're part of the 144, and what's my first thought? Let's go. I'm not gonna say, hey, I need to take my gold, man. I need to go take my truck with me. I need to take my house. I need to take my shit. Nah, it is what it is. Those are physical things that really don't matter. That doesn't mean, you know, you won't have things in this life. You will have things. It'll come for you because it's your plan. It's like a book written with your name on it. It's going to be happening just like in that book says, and that's God's plan for you. And if you diverge from that, that's your own choice because he gave you that choice. And I tell the people that I hang out with a lot of the time when I have bad feelings about things, it's like, why do you have bad feelings about it? And I feel like it comes down to like I came from a good Christian upbringing. I always went to church school when I was a kid. I always went to Sunday school. My grandma always tells us, don't stay home with the devil, come to church, all that shit, you know? So to me, like I've always had that in my life, and I had that like this feeling like deep down. Like you ever have something like almost happen to you? Or like you're out somewhere and you have this bad feeling like something's happening. I feel like that's your guardian angel telling you, like, hey, be careful. Something's gonna happen, or like something prolific happens to you, and you have this gut feeling. I feel like that's God's angels telling you, giving you those feelings. But the more you do bad in life, and the more you come away from that, the less you have those feelings to help you to prevent you to have something happen. Like I've had me doing bad things back then, where I'm selling dope or something. I'm like, I had this bad feeling. But I want this money right now. Like I want to go make this happen right now. But sure enough, some bad shit happened. I get caught up, and it's just God telling me like you're doing too much. It's bad you're doing in your life, and you need to think about what you're doing. And I feel like the more you do bad, the less you have that feeling like God's telling you. Like those people that don't have bad feelings, like it's like they don't have a conscience either. Like those people that do wrong and they get caught up all the time, they don't have a conscience because they it's like they gave up on that. It's like to me, like even being like coming from my neighborhood, it's like you could be a criminal, but be a good criminal. Have morals. Don't go steal from fucking Cripple Timmy because you need 50 cents because that those 2 quarters are sitting on that counter for Timmy's fucking wheelchair money. Nah, but steal motherfucking Pedro's money because he just bought an 8 ball of cocaine and I can rob from that motherfucker. You know what I mean? It's just there's morals for me doing things, and I feel like you lose your morals in life, the worse off you are.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. And just having the right state of mind, knowing right from wrong, left from right, keeping your head straight. Like most people might look at me and be like, I can't believe you're a Satanist, but at the same time, like it's what I personally. So like people might be like witness, but no, it's my testimony, right? Like that's what it comes down to. Is like that's my It's like Anthony, that was his testimony. Like he has his testimony, you have yours. So you can't let one person dictate your cause in life because it could be like Joe. God put Joe down this horrible path, but yet he praised God every day. I'm not down the horrible path. I have beautiful kids. I have a beautiful wife. I have a loving family. Like I can't ask for much more. I don't care about money. Like don't get me wrong. Like everything is ran by money, but it's not like my life. Like if I don't make this amount of money, like my life won't be much. Like none of that matters. Because at the end of the day, we all die. We all breathe. We all eat. We all shit. We all piss. Whatever you want to say. One way or another, you're going to make it to where you end up anyway, because God has already written out your path. Oh,
Yeah, the more you diverge from that path, the less he's involved in your life. At least that's the Christian perspective for tonight.
yes. So what's the other topic you have in mind, Anthony? By the
I
way,
was thinking, what's up?
Other Anthony left.
Oh yeah, he's like, I gotta get out of here. He's tired of our bullshit.
He was passing out.
Oh yeah.
I was.
Okay, so one of the topics I wanted to talk about. Have you ever heard of the West Memphis 3?
No, say that one
You ever
more
seen
time.
that? And it's an HBO movie. The West Memphis 3.
No.
If Xavier wants to get on this as we're talking about this, right? The West Memphis 3 case, and it comes the way the way that everyone like got taught about this whole case of all this, right? It comes from a HBO documentary. Back in the day, in our day, right in the 90s, HBO was a big thing, like real big, like it is now. But back then, it was like real fucking crazy. The documentaries, but the documentary was about the murder of 3 little boys. No, it was 2 little boys. I think they were like 7 or 8 years old. I gotta look into this more. But I remember watching this movie, and it's about the 3 teenagers that were labeled as satanic cult, members that killed the children for Satan worship. You ever heard about this? And it comes in three parts. For the first movie, right? It shows the whole get down when they're in trial and everything. The second movie shows really another perspective of how the first movie was, like it's weird because they harp a lot on like the kids were Satan worshippers, and the main kid of the three was what is that shit called? Wiccan. And they kept bringing it up in the trial case. Like they kept talking to him about his Wiccan culture, and he's teenagers that have fucking attitude. You know what I mean? But one of the kids had a low IQ. Like he had an IQ of a 7-year-old, like real low, and he's 14 years old. So he does not right in the mind. And he was the kid that confessed to the police that they were the ones that were involved in the murders of the kids. And all three of them, they're heavy metal listeners. They have Metallica shirts on and shit like that. One of them is a self-proclaimed Wiccan, but the second movie shows about how like they didn't want to talk about the positive aspects of it and the other suspects. Because there was another suspect, like one of the kids' stepdad was a big time suspect. And at one point I think in the second movie, they put the daddy on trial to talk about the case, and he kept pleading the fifth. He didn't want to talk about nothing. That was the whole sketchiest thing about the whole thing about was that the stepdaddy came on and he's like, I plead the fifth. And he's a redneck motherfucker, right? So he's like, I plead the fifth. So then he comes out and I ask him, like, why'd you keep pleading the fifth? Because I know who killed those boys. I know who killed those boys. And what's crazy about that too, right? The whole time during the documentary that the stepdaddy that they put on trial, he was all involved with the camera, like talking about his sons. He was in the Christian church scene. There was a weird part of the movie, right? He's at his stepson's grave, and he's all crying. He's like, why? And then he's like for 5 minutes, he's crying. Oh, please. And he's like, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna kill you. I will find you. And it's like, what the fuck? It's like he's playing it up for the cameras like so fucking well. You know what I mean? So the second movie pretty much like dives in deep of like the other suspects, how a lot of the things that they talk about doing were real. Like they backed it up with evidence. Like during the day before the murders happened, the kid said, oh, we were out drinking somewhere. So and so's mom bought us a bottle of liquor, this and that. But later down the line, they ended up finding that bottle of liquor in the same area that kid was talking about. So it's kind of like a conflicting thing because there's a lot of evidence for and against this whole thing about those kids killing those two little boys. Maybe we should have watched this movie more, but it's a crazy fucking story. So the last movie, right? The last movie is about the three of them getting out and them serving under like 40 or 30 years in prison. And it's crazy about it too. One of the main kid that's the Wiccan, and this is why I believe like in conspiracy theories too, right? Because Johnny Depp was involved, really heavily involved, helping him get out of prison, helping him pay fees for legal fees. And then once he got out of prison, he was doing a lot of interviews with Johnny Depp. I feel like that's satanic driven. I don't know. From my perspective, if you watch the movie, we'll talk about it again. But watch the three movies that are on HBO Max. You're gonna see from the perspective I see. I think they killed those little boys, and I feel like the stepdaddy helped them in a certain way, and the three boys are gonna get taken down for it. And like the main kid, like from the time he gets like sentenced in the beginning of the first movie, like he knows at some point he's gonna get out of prison.
Okay.
I mean, I was reading into it as you were talking, Anthony, and yeah, Johnny Depp was, he was like in the mix of all of it, but so was the lead singer to Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder. He was also mixed into it as well. Both of them were trying to get them out of prison. But yeah, I mean, it is like a controversial topic because some people say that they did do it. Like half of the people will say that they did do it, and the other half says they did it. So it's really like, how do we know for sure if they really killed those boys or they never did? That's really the question that's just going to come back around. Like, did they do it or did they not? Who knows?
What's crazy about it too, they even have their own, like, you know how they have these fucking YouTube documentaries. They have their own like investigating documentaries about like breaking down the scenes and the aspect of the whole crime. It gets fucking crazy. It does. It's pretty
Yeah.
fucking, yeah, it's pretty wild. And what's probably the most graphic about this whole fucking movie is the first movie, like within the first 5 fucking minutes, is super graphic because they actually show the crime scene of two little boys murdered, which is pretty fucked up. I think they did it personally, but you guys should watch it and tell me what your perspective on it is.
It was actually 3 little boys, not 2.
It was, huh? It was three little boys. That's why they call it the West Memphis Three.
Yeah. But I think the
3 8-year-old
weird
boys.
part is how deep Johnny Depp and Eddie Vedder were like connected into the case, you know? Only thing I've ever seen an actor or singer or anybody famous, like Hollywood famous, get involved in cases like this.
And you guys want to get into like conspiracy theories and shit like that, right? I feel like those guys are heavily into occultism or demonic shit, right? Like when they do a lot of interviews with actors and they ask them, where do you get your inspiration from? Like Denzel Washington, he says, well, I pray, I get down, I pray, I said, take over my body and help me be a great actor. I feel like that's demonic shit right there. I don't know about you, Dave, but that sounds a little demonic. Like, I don't know who the fuck does that, you know? And then like I've been in music a lot when I was in college. I went to college for music production, recording, mastering, movie sound work, sound effects, full all that shit. You know, like I dealt with
Right?
a lot of shit like that. Yeah, like I when I went to school, one of the main dudes was from the rap world called D
I gotta
Wiz,
watch
and he
about
did a lot of E40 stuff, Bay Area shit. You know, the other guy from the other side was from the Rock area. You know, like. So yeah, I had a real wide spectrum of like experience. People tell me about like their experiences in the music world. Like I remember one point, like you ever heard of like back then people play their records backwards and they hear symbolism, like they hear like subliminal messages playing backwards
yes,
in their music. Yeah,
yes.
that's like a big time thing. Yeah, so digitally they can still do that. It's called backmasking. And I remember asking someone one time because it's a feature in Pro Tools, like when you do it, and I was like, "What is this backmasking thing?" It's like, "Oh, so when you want to like record a line and then reverse their voice," and it's like, "Well, how the fuck is that gonna even sound good? What you have to like reverse the voice and like bring it down and equalize it and mix it into like your music? Like, what is the point of doing that?" But I feel like, and I think this is something that's demonic too, because like a lot of the time with Satan shit, they say things in reverse, the upside down cross. It's like kind of them. It's like kind of like a
Um,
blasphemy thing, in my opinion. I'm
well,
not sure about you, Dave. That's why I asked about it.
so I'm gonna say for a lot, like, okay, so like here's a big band like that says a lot against God. It's Slayer, right? Like there's a song called Disciple where it says I pretty much he's like I denounce God. Like um man, that's a hard subject because honestly it can go either way because some people, oh my god, that is touchy because okay, so hear me out. With
But
Slayer,
a lot of times, Satanism stuff, like it's in reverse, right? Especially when they say things like in like a Bible scriptures, they say it in reverse, right?
no and yes. Once again, yes and no. Here's why. Some bands will just straight out say it, while other bands will leave you with um, hidden messages, subliminal messages within inside the lyrics.
I think that's bitch
So
shit.
like
Like how like Kendrick Lamar wants to like do like music where he does like some weird like reverse shit. Like I don't like that. I don't like that type of shit. That's not cool. It's like a hidden way of like being blasphemy. Like it's like if you want to be like those dude slayers, like go ahead and say it outright. Like don't be a weirdo about it. Just fucking be straight up with it.
Slayer has albums like South of Heaven, Rain and Blood. I mean, Unholy Wars. I mean, we can go on for a good minute, but like they will say a good like I'm against God, like, and not be ashamed to say it. And then there's other bands that are like, I'm a Satanist man, but yet I can't say it without saying it within subtitles. And I'm
I
like,
get you. Like
that's
kind of like old
really
school fucking
weird.
like Johnny fucking what is that
Ooh,
fucking
what's up,
dude's name?
muscles?
Oh shit! Oh yeah, baby, I had to rip my sleeves off real quick. Boy,
My fault. If my fault, it was getting too hot.
you look like Paco from Blood and Blood Out. I'm gonna
I
play you
thought,
a
I thought you
song
were going to
named
say
Seek
Papa.
and Cut. These guys.
Nah.
I believe in that shit with within music because why? What is the point of backmasking and that whole deal about like why is it the shit they say in the backmasking like for what purpose? You know, and a lot of the times it is some fucking weird demonic shit. Like I told you about this one time, right? Back then, when you had burner phones, when you sell dope, it's a flip phone back in the day, fucking back in the day. So one of those flip phones we had, I remember we were like talking about like 2006. No, it was like 2006, 7, some 8, something like that. Me and my cousin at the time were like, so, oh, you ever heard about this one song that said that you can hear shit backwards? I'm like, well, we should try to do it. So we, back then, there was a little recording thing, but there was a feature where you can play it in reverse. And we're like, oh, that's cool. So we were doing that Kid Cudi song. It was that Day and Night. Remember that song back
Yeah,
in the day? That was a
yeah,
good song, yeah.
yeah.
We
That's a
fucking
good
did that
song.
song. And it was weird because in the voice recording on there, it was like heaven, and then it was like hell, 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 hell. And we're like, what the fuck? But it was weird because like the recording, like you ever hear like someone record like a voice message and they play a song on their phone and it was like real fucking covered, like someone covered their mouth and was singing a song and they record that for their fucking voicemail
Yeah,
back in
yeah.
the 2000s. That's how the music sounded, but the only clear parts that were coming out when we do it in reverse were all the shit they were saying when he was like heaven, heaven, hell, hell. It was fucking weird. I forgot what other song we did, like some Little Wayne song or some shit like that, and he was talking about the devil. I burn in hell. And what was crazy about that too, like at one point I put it in the computer and we were trying to do it in reverse in the computer, but it wasn't coming up on the computer. Like the reverse, when we did the reverse shit and tried to play it, it didn't even come out like that. It only happened when we had that fucking phone.
Dude,
That's
that's
some weird
weird.
shit.
That is very weird.
Hmm. It's kind of like
Yeah, symbolism. A
It's kind of like a
lot of
Mandela
shit like
effect.
that.
Yeah, it's
Mandela.
kind
And
of like
What do you
a
mean Mandela?
it's really weird when it comes to music. Like once again, I mean, I listen to really like Behemoth. Those who are watching or whatever in the future, I listen to Slayer. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like some other bands that are different, but I do. As Blood Runs Black. I don't know if you guys heard of them, but like,
I'm not too much of a rock
it,
guy. I'm not.
I when it comes to subliminal messages, man, some are straightforward. Most will beat around the bush because they don't want to ruin the record label company. They love the money. They want to stand for something, but they can't fully stand for it. They got to do it subliminally. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot plays into it when it comes, especially to
I feel
music.
like it's demonic shit that they're doing to get money. Like I feel like that's what they have to do to have it. They're trying to do it low key enough for them to work their magic so they can make their money. And I know this is.
Most,
I feel like it's real because Xavier, you probably know this about this, right? In Mexican culture, especially cartel members and people down in Mexico, they pray to the Santa Muerte, which is death. It's a Grim Reaper, and they have a statue with them. And what they do is they pray to this thing to get money, to get protection, and a lot of the times they pray to get money. I
yeah.
think that should. I think they do like demonic shit to financially get gains. But then at what cost? Like I told you, every reaction has a bad reaction when you do shit like that, especially with
Yeah,
magic.
of course.
I feel like when they do that type of shit, that's why there's always someone that dies in their family or some shit like that.
That or like something real tragic happens, and I see that. I can see that happening because I mean I have experienced things like that. I mean, like
Generational
I will,
curses is a real thing. It is a real thing too.
right. I mean I grew up seeing things like that, but I can see after a while it's like all that money and all that protection can only get you so far until like real bad things happen, you know? I
It
mean,
all
you can
catches
wish,
up to you.
yeah, it catches up, and you can wish for millions of dollars. You can wish for like I don't know, fucking, it's like the top rated security that you can ever have to not even feeling safe, always looking over your shoulders and to not having shit like dirt poor. I've seen it happen. I mean, I lived it. It's nothing you want to happen. It really isn't. And that's why I always stayed away from stuff like that. And I think after a while, a lot like spiritually, I grew, you know, and it's like the more the spirit world sees that you grow stronger, the more challenges are that's gonna wait for you, you know. And again, I've experienced all this, and it
Are you
sucks.
experiencing a party right now, Xavier? Because I'm just hearing it's festive over there on your end.
Oh I don't even know what's going on over here.
Your dad's
It's
drinking
how
finally?
No, no.
Don't lie, he's over
uh,
there drinking a beer. That's why he's playing that music, huh?
Uh-uh. He's in the room. But honestly, I feel like the more I grew up, the more stronger spiritually I became. So when it comes to spirits trying to attack me, they know they can't attack me physically and they can't attack me mentally. But what I'm trying to work on is in my emotions. Sometimes there are days where I'm like a little weak, and because of that, they try to go for my family. And the thing about me is that I don't give a shit if anybody's talking their shit about me or makes jokes about me. But when it comes to my family, I'm very strong on that. Like I will defend them like no other. So because a lot of spirits see that, they aim directly to my family. So it's like me thinking, okay, well, let me get both of my siblings with me, you know? Maybe that'll help. And from what I've seen, yeah, it helps. So I feel like I'm kind of just like weird vessel of protection when it comes to the people I'm with, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's just how I feel and that's just how I see it.
okay. I get it.
But I don't
So
know. I really don't know.
here's a topic though that I know one of us has been wanting to talk about. Um, let's dive right into it. Okay.
All right.
So first sighted in Point Pleasant, November 1996 to 1967. Recent in Chicago between 2011 to 2017. Also in Russia, Japan. And there's also an incident with Silver Bridge.
I know you know this, Xavier.
Yeah, we're talking about Mothman.
Bring it if you want to start off.
The first sighting of Mothman recorded was in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, by couples, 2 to 3 couples. They were all at Point Pleasant, which is a point where couples go and they do their thing. Well, one of these nights, they a lot of police reports were made saying there was this tall, dark figure with glowing red eyes and wings, like a moth-like wings, was spotted flying in the air, and everybody like just kind of said, "Okay, that's weird." And after a while, more reports was made, and then sometime sooner or later, they named this thing Mothman. And when you
It looks
talk
like a moth.
about
That's why Xavier. It looks like a moth.
when you talk about the incident with the Silver State Bridge, it was said that someone took a picture of the bridge, and if you look in the background carefully, you see a figure with wings like a moth and glowing red eyes flying past the bridge, like if it hit the bridge, you know? And I don't think anybody was hurt, but it was pretty crazy when you look at the pictures, because you see
So
this
what
bridge just crumbled down.
you're saying Mothman flew into the bridge and it destroyed the bridge?
You see, that's where I'm like confused about it, because
But if that is the case, and let's just say that is the case.
I don't. That is not the story, Xavier. Wrong.
Let me clarify. Hold
They
on.
had sightings. Okay, they had the sightings leading up to that happening. They had the sightings.
right,
Then the side of the day they kept high. The day of the bridge collapsing, they had sightings of that thing on the bridge itself.
yeah.
But it was crazy because like they have the. You ever seen the Mothman Prophecies movie? You ever seen that movie?
I've
With that
heard
one
of
guy that
it.
looks like a fucking dog. What's that one dude? He has those like real small eyes. He looks like a dog. But yeah, anyways, that fucking movie, they show like it's not only that, but there was like people that are around, like involved, that are getting premonitions about something bad that's gonna happen.
Right.
And I feel like it's something spiritual that came around to try to tell people that something bad was gonna happen. That's what I feel
Okay.
like it was.
Well, okay. I want to go off Xavier when he's like, people don't know what's going on, they're confused, and then it crashes into fucking the Silver State. Let's back up the
How
story a
did it
little
crash
bit.
into? No one had pictures of this crash into there. What do you mean?
Right. No one did. But we're gonna go with that scenario happened. But this is what happened in my theory before then. This is right after fucking not too long from World War II, okay? So the Nazi Germans
You're
fucking
pixelating like Lizard Man right now, David.
I'm sorry, but I gotta be honest with you. And they probably did some weird ass experiment and they probably put some wings on some fucking fairy. And
I think
then that
there's a lot of conspiracies about it because in another documentary they talk about how in that area where they had a lot of the sightings before that thing went to that bridge. And that shit
Even that
happened.
we're joking about the 67 to 68, but what about between 2011 and 2017? How do you explain
Yeah,
that?
that was a different thing too. Like they had the one in England, but they call it the owl man. It was the same type of thing, but it looked like an owl instead of a fucking moth.
It's kind of like the
Right.
New Jersey game.
Okay. What about it?
Like it's like Bigfoot. I'm sorry to put it that way. Like it's hard to prove.
Yeah.
I don't know. I got some crazy stories about Bigfoot too.
Now, hold on. I'm not gonna say Mothman does
Mothman
not
too.
exist.
Mothman.
I'm not gonna say any of them don't ever exist
Right.
because we think about dragons, and then scientists want to say dragons are like bird bones where they deteriorate quicker and they're hollow in the middle. So let's just say there's something of that nature of where we don't know the aspect of them. So we don't know the intelligence of knowing if they ever did exist. But yet we
Right.
think about minotaurs, senators, we think about fucking mermaids, we think about, you know what I'm saying? People think about some weird stuff, but that doesn't mean they never existed. We don't know exactly what lived in the continent of Antarctica over here, do we? It's all covered in ice.
That is true.
We get underneath that layer. Who doesn't say there's a new species of man, a new species of monkey, or tiger, or lion, or elephant, or snake? Who knows?
That is true. I mean, yeah. I mean, I do see at the end of the day, these are all like conspiracy theories, you know, but that is true. Maybe they were real at a certain point in time. You know, maybe they're in Antarctica, frozen in ice, and we will never know. You
I
know,
don't know.
because
I
I mean,
feel like there's a lot of unknown in the world, and there's places in the world that we have not discovered. Like they say, the biggest place in the world that the biggest part of the world we haven't discovered is the ocean. There could be
Yeah.
some
But
fucking
you read,
who knows what's
but
down
if
there. You know what I mean?
But if you read recently, there's two new things, and you should probably check these both out. Is one, they found over
What's the
10,000
other
new
one then?
species. I'm going to tell you both of them right now. One is they found 10,000 new species. Number two is they found another, what they want to call is a hidden ocean, and you can look into this. It's a hidden ocean under a continent, and it has a whole new thriving living situation. It works out great. They adapted. It's kind of cool.
I mean, I have seen videos of that.
What was the second thing,
where
Dave?
there was an underwater
That was the
ocean.
second. The first one was they discovered over 8,000, 9,000 new species recently. And number two was they found a hidden ocean under a continent.
Yeah, but you know that the panda was claimed to not exist for a really long time. I think it was like decades. They could not find a panda in the fucking forest, bamboo forest. Think about that. A black and white creature was not found in the green forest of bamboo for the longest time, for decades, until they finally found out that they existed. Think about that shit.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know, there could be some shit out there that no one fucking knows. The smarter the animal it is, the most likely that they fucking are existent, you know, and just hiding the fuck
Right.
out. Like they say too, like there's underground caves and shit in America, like in the forest. Who knows? Motherfuckers could be hiding underneath in the underground or something, you know?
Not to bring up the Bible again, but there is a doorway in the Bible that says in the Bible, if you find the doorway, you will find the way to enter into the kingdom of heaven. No one's ever found that door. All right, what about Solomon's treasure? No one's ever found that.
That's right. But that could be a spiritual door too.
Exactly.
It could be a physical door. Who knows? You know.
If you find it to be a physical door, that's wrong.
So
It's
Bigfoot.
got to be like a spiritual door, honestly.
Is it Bigfoot time now?
Yeah,
Let's
we
do
can talk
Bigfoot.
about Bigfoot.
So for me, right, I have some stories about Bigfoot. So I know somebody that is a Paiute, lives on the Paiute reservation out here in Pyramid Lake, on Pyramid Lake. He would tell me about the times like they go out there, they go hunt, or they just go up the mountain, they walk and shit. He said that one time he seen a Bigfoot, and I was like, don't fucking lie, really? And there's a lot of sightings out there in Pyramid Lake about Bigfoot, but he's straight 100% Paiute. He told me that he was there with his wife and his son, and they were going up the mountain, like in one of the valleys, going up the mountain a little bit, you know. So he said that everything got quiet, and he's like, he couldn't hear nobody. He couldn't hear the wind. He couldn't see nothing. He couldn't hear nothing. And the only thing that he noticed was he seen a Bigfoot. And he's like, I seen this thing. And he's like, it felt like it. He's like, I felt like it was worried about me, and I was allowed to see it. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, because like no, my wife didn't see it, my son didn't see it, like they were right there. But then like after like I looked around like at them, like what's going on, I looked back, it disappeared. And he's like, I can hear everything again. And he's like, I swear, like I seen that thing and it wasn't there no more. But I asked my wife and my son, hey, did you see that? He's like, no, what are you talking about? You didn't see nothing. He's like, it was pretty fucking close too. At least like 60 yards away from him or something like that. You know, it's pretty close. So I don't know. I feel like Bigfoot is like more of a spiritual entity, or at least a physical entity that's has spiritual connection somehow. I think like because you know a lot of the times people say that Bigfoot are seen a lot around military bases. You ever hear about that? My uncle was in Fort Bragg, and he's in the military, right? He was in FBI. He's all up in the system and shit. Now he's a correctional officer, but he was telling me at one point when he was at the bases a lot, that he'd tell me about people saying that they hear stories of Bigfoot being seen near the base or whatever. Like, why would a fucking Bigfoot need to be near an army base? Is it an experiment? Is it something to do with some bad spiritual shit they're doing or something like that? Some people, like I've heard people.
Honestly, in my point of view, I think it's an experiment gone wrong again.
Who knows? I asked my grandpa one time that shit. I was like, "What do you think what Bigfoot is?" He said, "I think it's something spiritual there to protect something." I don't know. Maybe not.
Once again, so my mom would tell me, because she's still here when my dad's dead, but he would tell me too, like when he found Bigfoot was near, it was the odor in the air that would change, and it would smell like death, like gross, decaying.
Yeah, a lot of people say those
Most-
that the Bigfoot they smell weird. They smell like rotten.
Yeah,
Why?
I never asked. I was a kid at the time, but my
Maybe
mom and
because
my
they don't
dad.
wash their ass ever.
Shut the
Hey, you might be right though.
Hmm.
Huh.
How would you feel? You'd probably be cranky too on a highway for people. You can never wash your ass. You get swamp ass like twice a week or
Okay, so
some shit like
so
that.
here's another one. Anthony, you've been around. You said Reno for a minute, right? So, and X, I know you haven't, but this is probably be more of a kind of a mind shocker to X than you, Anthony. You probably know this already. We'll bring up two actually, and we'll go one at a time, not skip the other. So for the first one that we're going to bring up is kind of simple. A lot of detail I could add to this is Highway 50. It's the loneliest highway in America. Now, with that being said, there have been multiple sightings, and I'm going to say I'm a witness to people in the desert that actually still live in Nevada with um, incest probabilities, I would say, that are
Good God.
destroying. And you go after, okay, so after Fernley, there's nothing until you get to Austin. And when you get to Austin, Nevada, there's nothing besides 2 gas stations and a few residential houses and 1 tow yard. Other than that, there's nothing else. There's not a police station, nothing. So if you're dying, good luck. And if you keep going from there, it's Eureka, Nevada, and there's not much there besides a small mining town. And after that, it's Ruth, which is even smaller. And then you got Ely, which is small. And then you got Wendover, which is small. And then Salt Lake City would be the next part. But with that being said, there's been even a book written by Stephen King about Highway 50. It's called Deception. And basically, there's a Native American evil spirit that lives on the highway and people that still live out there that the spirit will take any form that it can and only live up to a few days in the host body, depending on the animal and human it takes. But it causes harm to people, and it's negative and can kill and does cannibalism.
I
Oh,
believe
shit.
it. In Nevada, Nevada is probably one of the last parts of the Wild West that we still got and like still thriving nowadays because of places like that, just fucking desolate places that ain't got much but a fucking gas station, and some of them got a casino, a gas station, and the fucking hospital's like 3 hours away. There's some fucking scary places in between all of Nevada, especially northern Nevada.
There's a book and a movie called Deception from Stephen King. So you might want to look into it. But what's your perspective on that, X?
About Highway 50?
Yeah.
I think that's some crazy shit, man.
I think that shit is believable. You never know what some fucking type of hillbilly motherfuckers are living out of nowhere, inbreeding to keep fucking their bloodline alive and shit.
So hear me out. And you guys call bullshit. I don't care because I witnessed it. And you guys could call me a liar. Once again, I was there. So there was a part of my life before I met my wife that I moved from Reno, Nevada with my sister to Ely, Nevada because her father-in-law offered me a truck. So I took the opportunity to earn my first vehicle. Nor did I ever get that vehicle because he was a bullshit liar. But I would cut woods and woods of I'm talking about a full thing of wood, like quartz all day, 4x4x8. So that's a dimension that you sell quartz of wood in. I would do that nonstop every day for weeks and months on end. Never got the truck. But there was a guy that we worked for on the side. His name was Gary Backus. Gary Backus owned a ranch in Ely, Nevada. He was the house closest to Nevada State Penitentiary, the prison. And Gary one day approached me in the field, and when I was working on his ranch, and I was near the goats and the cows, and he was like, "Hey," he's like, "Robert tells me that you don't believe in the whole thing about Highway 50." And he's a lawyer. He served in World War II, and at the time he was a lawyer. He is now dead. But at the time he was a lawyer. And I was like, "I don't believe it." He was like, "If I show you proof that there's cannibalism and hillbillies that live in the middle of Nevada, will you believe me?" I was like, "Only if you could show me proof." Well, that night he takes me we leave at I don't know, midnight, get there at 2:30 in the morning, and we turn off this dirt road and we just drive for a good hour, and we get to nothing. I mean, there's nothing nearby. And he turns off his truck, turns off all the lights, and as time goes by, he's like, "Do you hear that?" And I'm like, "No, what the fuck?" And he has spotlights on his truck. So he turns the spotlight, turns it. There's 3 people butt naked running towards us.
What the fuck?
Dude, it was the trippiest shit I've ever seen. And they all had a weapon.
Oh shit.
What kind of weapon?
Machete, fucking knife. Ever since then, I've always believed in Highway 50. There was a point. Okay, so hear me out. So I tell my
Did
wife
you have
the
a
same
gun?
story. No. Yeah, he did.
Fuck.
Gary had
Okay,
multiple guns. Once again, World War II. And fucking now he's a lawyer, but he shot off a couple rounds. They ducked down. He turned off the lights, turned on his truck. We booked out of there. And he was like, "Don't ever tell me that cannibals don't live in Nevada that are just wild." He's like, "There's more to the state than you know." And I was like, wow, coming from a lawyer, I probably should shut the fuck up. So anyway, I tell my wife the story months after I meet my wife. We're driving my sister home one night from Reno to Ely and then drive back. So we're driving there, and there's a Grand Jeep Cherokee that is parked on a strip of nowhere in the middle of fucking nowhere with its lights and every door still open. It's nighttime. You can't see anything else besides the road and this Jeep on the side of the road on the right side going towards Ely. And its doors are open, its back trunk is open, lights are on, no one's there. Not a single person. And people and their luggage is on the side of the road. It looks like someone's ransacked it and everything. And those are the people, once again, this is in the movie Deception, in the book, you probably should check it out. And there are people that are cannibalism. And that's where Hills Have Ice comes from. It's based in the.
I was thinking of Hills Have Eyes when you were talking about that shit. So I'm like, I can see that shit fucking happening, you know?
But Hills Have Eyes actually happens on a different highway. Highway 50 is the loneliest highway in the world, in the U.S. No one rarely goes past Fernley. You go Fernley Fallon. After Fallon, there's nothing besides Eureka. No one really goes past that point. So it is, if you look at the signs while driving eastward on the highway, if you ever do, look at Highway 80 and it'll tell you on multiple spots, especially when you pass Fallon, it'll say the loneliest highway in America. You won't see anyone for fucking a good minute. You could drive 2 hours and never see another car pass.
People just scared going through that. That's probably a big part of the reason why there's not a lot of people driving up there. For one, there's nothing out there, and 2, everyone's like, if I don't fucking need to be out there, I'm not fucking going out there.
That's why they have I-80, because I-80 will take you from Reno to small little towns with gasoline and fast food all the way to Elko, which leads to Wendover. When you take Nevada's Highway 50 to Wendover, there's nothing after Fallon besides small little towns that only have one gas station, and Ely is the next point where it only has maybe 4 casinos, and then after that, there's nothing for a good 2 or 3 hours, depending on how things go. But never again in my life will I ever doubt that. Highway 50 is a very unique place, and honestly, when I go herping, you need to go too, X, and probably Anthony if he's down. But
get fucking chased out by some naked hillbillies holding machetes.
dude, you never know. But at the same time, we're not going we would probably go a different route. We wouldn't go down that. I wouldn't really go down 50. I'd probably go down 80 and get off at Winnemucca and go camp those hills. But when it comes to 50, we probably should do that sometime because honestly, you probably see some crazy here and see some crazy shit. Honestly,
Man, if I'm gonna do stuff like that, I for sure need a gun. I need
No.
a gun.
I
and some
will
fucking
bring
ammo.
multiple guns, but I would not even be out there. Even if I had like
Yeah.
10 guns on me, I would not be out there. Fuck all that. I would arm the cannibals. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's one
Yeah.
thing having to worry about naked hillbillies chasing you with machetes, but it's another thing having to worry about being chased by naked hillbillies with pistols and ARs. That's something you definitely need to worry about.
Well, all bullshit. Like, you guys call me whatever you want to say, but like at the end of the day, he took me out there. He took me and it was like 2:30 in the morning. And when he shot though, he didn't shoot straight in the air. He shot towards them, but not to hit them. And it caught their attention, and they stopped and they ducked down underneath after he put the spotlight under them behind the bushes and shit. Like, because no matter how you look at it, Nevada is covered in sagebrush, so they were behind the sage. And fucking, we got the fuck out of there. And
you guys didn't see no house, or like they just knew they heard someone coming around and
no. And you know what? Another weird part is I want to take you guys out there sometime, and is we got to go to Belmont, Nevada. Belmont is a devil town that burned or no longer exists anymore. It didn't burn. It was a caving mine town that would take, I don't know, enslavement of other mostly Asian people and put them into work in the cave. But like, dude, that place is haunted to this day, and they don't want no one to know about it.
I have to do some research on that, and then I'm down. I'm trying
What
to
is it
go.
called? Belmont, Nevada.
I'm down
Belmont,
to go.
Nevada.
I mean, I've been wanting to do some ghost explorations. That's what I want to do. But for sure, I'm
That'd be
down.
so-
Honestly,
That'd be so
Yeah.
fun. Dude, there's a fort. There's a fort that we could go to that the U.S. government used to own, and there's still like gold pieces and like swords and shit inside that motherfucker. But you got to go into this place called USA Lion. It's called the USA Mountain Lion County, and it's like out of Cherry Creek, Nevada. And dude, that place is epic, dude. There's an underground mine.
an underground mine. Holy shit! I want to check out that abandoned prison here in Nevada. I heard that one is pretty haunted.
I don't know about doing all that. They might still be watching those cameras.
Well, for sure they're gonna be watching cameras, But I want to check it out.
Yeah, no, it's a very crazy time, man. Like, you gotta check out shit while you got the chance, because when opportunity goes, it's gone.
Yeah. It says Nevada State Prison in Carson City, which was closed in 2012.
Oh, dude, that's right off the main road. You ain't getting in that motherfucker.
I mean, I heard you can. I mean, they have it open to the public.
Really? At night?
Yeah.
No.
Probably have to pay some good money for it, but I'm down.
Fuck all
No.
that.
Yeah, I ain't trying to pay shit.
Well,
we could head over to what's it called? What's nearby us that's haunted as fuck, Virginia City?
no idea.
DC is haunted. Dude, there's spirit orbs you will see with your own eyes without camera.
Mm-hmm.
What about the water babies? You want to talk about the water babies?
The water babies?
Do you know what those are?
Water babies. That
I don't
sounds
think
like
he does.
some fucking. That sounds like some baby product right there. Water babies?
Seriously, you want to talk about water babies?
Sure. What the hell are those?
So water baby, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony, but they're not only kids that drowned in Pyramid Lake, they're also the kids that they tossed away.
Oh, what the fuck?
They would also drown, and I'm not talking about their own tribe, but there's also people that would take their kids just to try to survive and would drown with their kids in that lake.
It's not a bad shit, and then it has to do with what like cultural beliefs. Because like I said, I know people that are from that area, Paiutes, straight Paiutes. They told me the story of uh, there's people, a family that was there, a part of a tribe. They were there near the water, and that they were trying to give a baby a bath in the pier or in the lake, right? So they seen a snake come up, and the snake was trying to take the baby, and they were trying to fight the snake off to get the baby away from him. So then the medicine man came over and told him, "Hey, let the baby go." He's like, "Well, if I let this baby go, you have to let me be able to come back as a baby." He's like, "Okay, I'll let you do that though." Okay, so that's what the spiritual thing is. That it's a spirit that was changed, a snake that was changed spiritually into a form of a baby to lure people to the lake to kill them. Because when you
What
hear a
the
baby
fuck?
crying in the middle of the night near water, you're like, "What the fuck? There's a baby out there." So that's the whole premise of all that. But I don't know. Like I said, it's a cultural
And
thing. You know,
and
that's what the
believe it or
Pikes
not,
were.
once again, believe it or not, I camped out at Pyramid Lake. I'm telling you,
Yeah?
there are surprises.
You heard him, huh?
I
Dude,
have heard.
I wanna
I,
check that out, man.
I camped halfway through the lake on the western side of the shore. I know where I camped. I can say I know for sure if I took you guys right now, I know where it was.
What's the name of that other part of the other side of Pyramid Lake? Isn't that shit called like Hell's Kitchen or some shit like that?
Yeah,
Hell's Kitchen. Weird,
Hell's Gate or Hell's Kitchen, one of the two.
I was gonna say it's a weird name
This is
for
though, like
a
my
lake.
wife was not to get off of it, but she said she saw a bald eagle over there.
Who?
In
My
Pyramid
wife,
Lake?
she saw a bald eagle. You know how I mean, like I looked it up. They're actually not too common, but they're kind of common over there for breeding at this time, like
Right.
certain times of year. But like to see one out on the west coast, I'm like,
A lot of bad shit happens there though.
same with BC.
I would
BC,
like to check that place out though.
you want
Because
to go to BC?
no, fucking Pyramid Lake.
No, you gotta go to Belmont, bro.
In Belmont?
Pyramid Lake is cool. Just the thing is with Pyramid Lake, you have to go there with respect. Like we were talking about last time. I don't know. I forgot who we were talking about, but there's always something that happens. Every time I went, someone was missing, someone was drowning, some shit happened where they had to have someone come out. I swear, every single time I go to Pyramid Lake, something happens because people don't go there with good intentions. That's tribal land. I mean, if you come out over there with disrespect like that, that's why people drown all the time and shit. You ever hear about stories about people saying they go swim in the water and then they feel someone like pulling at their feet, like pulling their legs
Yeah,
down and shit? hmm
yeah.
You know another crazy story, right? One of my cousins, he was hanging. It's crazy because he's a cousin of mine hanging out with my other cousin that's a pipe. They went on the other side of the lake, right? They went into a cave like on the other side, like near where those pyramids are. He said that he found a cave with a bunch of kids' clothes in there. I was like, what? He's like, no, for real. If it was like people's clothes and shit like that, it would like fucking like weird like shit, like their fucking purse or whatever laying on the floor. It's like, don't lie, for real. He's like, yeah, I'm not tripping, like for real. I've seen that shit. He said that he tripped out, so he went over there and he's like, oh, I went home and got some guns and went back and all that shit was gone. I was like, what?
Oh
What
fuck.
do you mean? Within the same day too. I don't
The
know. There's a
Pyramid
lot of
Lake
weird shit
is
that
a
happens
pretty
at Pyramid
place.
Lake.
Honestly,
That is some real
I
sketchy
agree.
shit.
I agree with Anthony though. If you go there and you go with good intentions and you treat the place good, you'll be all right. But the minute you go there and you're negative and it's all about you, fuck you.
hmm
They'll take your ass. I don't know if drown your ass or fucking. I've heard even stories about Bigfoot over there too.
I yeah, that and honestly, so there was I can't put eligibility to this, but I guess it's good to bring up just to give content. there was a person that went there camping, and I mean, mountain lions do exist around there, but they're not heavy. And they ended up disrespecting the place, and they actually died by their throat. And the mountain lion left them after ripping out the throat.
Oh shit.
Damn.
Now,
Yeah, it's a
can I
dangerous
put
place. People go over there.
That's
it's crazy?
so that just like gets me curious, you know? I mean, would it
Like once again, I want to do a live stream with you guys on this and do it at Pyramid Lake and give respect, because honestly, there's so much, and I have to say, there's so much disrespect that goes there. Like no one cares about Pyramid. It's keep Tahoe blue. Like Tahoe's cool, but like it's only cool to the rich people that play golf. They go skiing, snowboarding. Don't give a fuck. But no one gives respect to the Pyramid because it has a reservation. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
where's the true balance of love and forgiveness and respect and every morals and whatnot? But we want to give praise to the people that play, a round of golf for $200, and yet they live in mansions that are smart homes that they could be like, turn down the lights or turn up the AC or whatnot. But yet we don't want to give to respect to the people of the land. Even for my mom and my dad, like we all stole from. Like at the end of the day, we're all like, we talk about like invasive species. We shouldn't have this here because it's invasive, and we shouldn't have that plant here because it's invasive, and it can hurt our economy and whatnot. And tell me if you guys disagree, but like, are humans not the most invasive thing? Do we not destroy the most? We talk
pretty
about
much
we talk about
much
Burmese
are.
pythons, and we talk about everything else killing each other because they're not invasive, but yet do we not invase and destroy everything else we come in contact with? Like,
Yeah. I mean that I do
It is
agree. I
true,
mean
yeah.
you gotta think about it um through nature's eye. You know, I mean, how many places were there where it was just like real beautiful, had a real beautiful view, and here we come destroying it all just to make some fucking shitty, some shitty apartment complex or some fucking bullshit neighborhood,
so you want so okay, so here's a funny and not funny, like haha, but like funny that it happened. And you want to? This is it just came to me, and my wife will tell you stories because I've told her, and I actually caught her a rabbit. Sorry, I killed it, but I caught her a rabbit, and I brought it home. Even though I told her about it from the pet store, and I lied to her, and she knows that I lied to her, so we're all good now. So, I was doing insulation, and I found a jackrabbit underneath the subfloor. The subfloor and the basement that I was building, I didn't build the house. The carpenters did, but I laid it. I placed all the insulation after everyone else was done, and plumbing was up. Electricians were done, and I did my insulation. And I was working for drywall roofing insulation in Carson City at the time. And I caught her the rabbit. But during that time, after that day I caught the rabbit, I went back there and we finished the subfloor. And the subfloor was at a house at Pyramid Lake. And I had a coworker that heard a little girl at the time yell for help. And we went up because he was like, dude, someone's yelling for help. So we go upstairs. There's no one there. The house is empty. Drywall's not up, nothing. We're doing the subfloor only and blowing in the attic. There's nobody in the fucking house. The whole time we found one toy, we found a little girl's dress, and fucking we just constantly heard like running upstairs, but there was nobody there. I'm just saying that's something to bring up.
I believe it. Spirits, they stay around sometimes when bad things happen to them or they die in the wrong way. Like you ever I seen this recently a video. Remember that one dude? I think his name's Chris something. He killed his family, and the cops came to his house, and they're on body camera, and they're asking about his wife going missing because she went missing with the kids, his two daughters, and he's all nervous the whole time, and they won't go and ask the neighbor like what happened, and the neighbor's even telling the cops he's acting weird, right? But on the video camera they're showing now too, like as soon as he opens the doors for the cops and they come in and talk to him, they see you see a ghost run down the stairs of a little girl. And then he takes the cops to upstairs and stuff, and you can hear like giggling in the background. I believe in that shit. When people die in a bad way, and it's not their time, I feel like there's sometimes their spirit that hangs around because it doesn't understand what happened to them.
Yeah. I mean, now that you say that,
Honestly, like, sorry, X, not to cut you off, but like, just saying, like, the doll we found, dude, was like, it had to date back to like the 40s, 50s, 30s. Like, the doll was old. It wasn't like nothing new. Like, the clothing we found wasn't nothing new. Like, and this was like 2011, 2010. Like, this was crazy. Like, this is like one of the new manufactured or houses built recently in Pyramid, Nevada. Pyramid Lake,
Right.
Nevada. Stead, whatever you want to call it. Brand Springs. It was crazy. What were you gonna say, X?
oh no, I was kind of just going off on what Anthony was saying. It's like I see that when a lot of people die, their spirits are stuck there. But there's also times where they don't even know they're dead. Like they're living their life and they don't even know they're dead. You know, so they just become a trapped spirit that is just stuck in this loop.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but I want you to know this too. There's actual research, and you have your computer next to you. You can look this up. Did you know that when the body dies and you fully die, you lose 3 pounds?
I'm pretty sure because you're shitting and pissing the entire time?
No. Because that mass would still be a part of you.
Oh.
It's your spirit that dies, and it passes on.
Exactly. Your spirit moves on.
Damn.
What is that shit in Breaking Bad? I know you've seen that shit where they break down the molecular structure of like a human being, and it comes down to like the percentage wise of everything that's in the human body, and it comes down to like the last tenth of a gram or some shit like that. And it's like, well, what is that? Well, that's
Even if you want to be like, well, it's the air in their lungs. It's not enough weight. It's not 3 pounds, 2 pounds, 3 pounds, whatever it is. It's not enough.
Some people say it's what 27 grams. What's that fucking movie called? 27 grams, and he talks about the spirit. Some people, they have their own views on what the spirit weighs or whatever.
See, I didn't even know that. That's actually mind blowing to me.
It's crazy because you actually have a spirit that's going to move on. But at the end of the day, it's how you determine your spirit where it goes.
Yeah, that is true. And there's also a lot of
Well, hold on. Would you agree, Anthony?
What?
Would you agree?
With what? Hold on, say it again.
It depends on how you do in your life, depending on where your spirit goes.
Yeah, sure, that's true. Really accurate assumption.
X?
But then again, I feel like
Honestly-
it's a thing like when your life's cut short, like I said, like the whole spiritual thing, like who knows, like you don't understand what happened to you. It's like compared to like an
Right.
old man that's dying, ready to die, and he's like, I'm ready to pass. I want to see my wife now, or he's gonna pass on and feel peace at life, and his spirit passing on and understand the whole like concept of what's happening. But like, say if a little kid gets taken and murdered, it's like their spirit doesn't understand what happened. So that's what the bad shit. Like they're in between the worlds, in between planes.
Yeah.
So purgatory.
I think that's what it is, honestly. It's like their spirit gets stuck in purgatory
It is.
until
It's kind of like Family Guy. They can't take off without the flight unless everything's perfect, but they can't.
yeah.
It's kind of being stuck in the same loophole and knowing the same outcome, and you can't fight it.
Yeah, that's why when it comes down to a lot of spirits, like I was saying, they're stuck in the loop, And yeah, you basically just proved my point that spirits are stuck in the loop, and they have no control of what the fuck's going on, So they just have to relive it all over again. But I think that also creates like angry spirits, because I'd be pissed off too if I'm like living the same death all over again. I'd be pretty mad, and like that's why there's like restless spirits. That's why there's stuck spirits, angry spirits, good spirits, and shit. There's even stuff that's not
That's right.
even
Speaking
human.
cousin, you sound like those native guys over the bridge and under the water. But I feel what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
spiritually, it's crazy to see all the different things in life that we have to deal with and understand, and don't have the understanding until it actually happens to us. There's a lot of unknowns in life,
Mhm.
which brings me to something else I wanted to talk about. Have you ever heard of something? Okay, I know you probably heard about this, Xavier, right? You ever heard of duendes? Dave, you know what I'm talking about? Duendes?
No.
No? Like they're what the fuck? They're like elves, like little people.
What the
Nah, you
fuck?
never
You thinking about some fucking goddamn cookies? What are those
little
people
people, like
called?
little people, like 3 4 foot tall. It's a
Yeah.
Mexican thing though too. Like in Mexico, we call them duendes because they're little people that fuck with you. Well, from my wife's family, they say they fuck with you because if you're drunk, they'll come fuck with you, or they'll try to help you get you lost, or if they want to give you something, they want something in return. And I'll tell you a crazy story about this, right? And I feel like it has to do with family, like it's tied to families and shit like that because her mother was telling her about how her grandpa got fucked with when he was drunk one day, and they tried to lead him down a forest, and they grabbed him by his
Mhm.
ankles and dragged him through the bushes and shit like that, right? And he came to him all fucked up and scratched. He's like, "What happened to you?" He's like, "These little motherfuckers took me and dragged me through the shit." But that's her mom's family, right? So fast forward to me and my wife and my family. So my sister in law and my wife had the same experience when they had their first baby. So when my wife had my first son, she said that she saw a little motherfucker, a little bastard. I was like, for real? What are you talking about? I was like, a duende. I was like, what do you mean? It's like I was laying on the bed, she's all pregnant, 8 months pregnant, and she said she seen this little fucker run underneath the bed all fast. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, you're tripping. You're fucking emotional. Her sister said she seen the same shit happen to her too, seen the same type of motherfucker. But what's crazy about this whole thing, right? When we moved to our house instead, in that 2 story house, my wife would tell me that she would see a duende in the house. I was like, "You're tripping." Until one day, I would hear like when you're in a house with wood steps, right? Like we had stairs going up to the second floor, and we had wood floors everywhere. So when people are stepping, you can hear their footsteps. So there'd be times when my wife, she goes and gives my kids a bath. They're all in the restroom. She's in the bath with them. And I can hear someone in the hallway. I'm like, what the fuck? Like I swear I would hear someone in the hallway. Or sometimes I would hear like down in the kitchen and downstairs, I would hear like the dishes clattering or something like that. And my wife was like, I see this little motherfucker in the house. Like, what do you mean? I see him outside sometimes. And it's like I see him like run because he had a backyard with bushes and like little with like a peach tree, a pear tree, and then like these 2 bushes that look like Christmas trees. So she's like, I seen this little motherfucker like run behind a tree and jump into a pile of wood. And I was like, you're fucking tripping, man. You're losing your mind. You're fucking tripping. Until I started hearing more. Like, and then she told me one time, she's like, she told her family in Mexico, and her family in Mexico's like, it's good. Give him money, give him something that he can give you because he wants to give you money. I was like, what do you mean? She's like explaining to me, it's like to them, it's like they come to you because they like you, and the most likely it's the women. They like the women, and sometimes it's certain women from certain families, like generational, like. Oh, I liked your fam, like your grandma. I like you now, like, and they come around and they want to see, like, hey, like I want to be friendly and I'll give you something, but you need to give me something. But you need to know, like right off the bat, that's what his intentions are. So her family was telling her, you should leave out liquor and candy. I was like, what do you mean? So I guess if you leave out little bottle like liquor, and candy, like candy bars and shit like that, that little fucker, he'll give you something. I was like, no way, you're tripping. I was like, all right, then I'll suck it. And I was like, telling him one day, I was like, tell the little motherfucker to come bring me a big bar of gold. Come give me some, come bring me some gold, you little motherfucker, and I'll give you some liquor. And I told her, I'm gonna go buy the liquor right now. I was like, she was telling me, no, don't do this and that. They're perverts. They like the women. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, what if he's a little drunkard? Because that's what the grandma was telling him too. Is like those little bastards, they like to drink liquor. So if you're the type of person that has liquor out, he'll go and steal your alcohol and drink it and go fuck with the women. And he likes candy. And yeah, when you ever heard of that one Mexican candy, what is that shit called? Goncitas? What is that fucking things? They're like Twinkies, but they're like have like a custard in it, like a raspberry like thing. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Gancitos, that's what they're called. So we had a pack of them, and one day my wife's like left one out. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna leave this out for you." She said that motherfucker got disappeared, and then the next day she's like telling me like, "Yeah, I looked in the fucking inside of the fridge that we had in the garage. The kids can't get in there." She's like, "That whole box is gone." I say, "What do you mean?" He's like, "The little bastard came in here and took the candy," and she was telling me like, "I don't want to give him liquor because I don't trust that shit." And because we're Christian, I was like, "Yeah, you're right." Because if it's a spirit trying to fuck with us or some weird like entity, like I'm not gonna go and like haggle with this little motherfucker. Fuck that little bastard. What's
But
crazy
that
about it too,
thing,
right? We would
but
see it at places. My wife told me she's seen it at her job. She went out when she had a nighttime job, like in the state area, so she would like go to work. She said one night she got in the truck. She was sitting there eating her lunch. She said, "I seen that little motherfucker come out behind a truck." I was like, "No way." She's like, "Yeah, I seen the motherfucker come out sideways, and then look at me, and then like go scoop sideways back behind the truck." I was like, "You're fucking tripping." And like after we moved out of there, right? We moved to another to Sparks, out of the area. We went back in the area for some reason, and we were like around the corner at the gas station. And she told me, I got down, I got a beer, got some gas, you know what I mean? And she was like, "I seen that little fucker in the bushes looking at me." It's like, "You're fucking tripping balls." And sure enough, I swear, my wife believes that that duende specifically lives around there somewhere and would fuck with her. I don't know I don't know the extent of how true that is or not.
Anthony, you have to do this, man. You have to do it. I'll do it with you, and I'll take all the negative. You have to go with it. You have to get him to, or anything that you think spiritual, like a demon's gonna happen. Let's do it together. It'll follow me.
We're not doing the fucking Ouija board, right? We're not doing that shit. I'm sorry, buddy,
Come
but
on.
we're not doing that. And that's probably what your thought is right now, huh? Right? You're gonna ask me that?
What about a crystal?
No, none of that shit either. What the fuck? I don't know, Santorin. Fuck all that. Crystal ball. How about you take a picture of you doing the crystal ball and then show us next time we're on? That's a lot. That sounds a lot more pleasing to me.
Satan loves you. All right.
Fuck no. Satan can eat a whole bag of dicks. He
No,
probably like it too. Jesus Christ is
no,
with me.
no. Well, maybe, but no. Not the bag of dicks, but Jesus Christ might be with you.
I don't know, man. Can't do that. Sorry. I don't. I believe in. I don't. That goes against my beliefs. I can't do no Ouija board shit. Probably Xavier. Maybe one day when Xavier wants to do something, tell him he looks like a Ouija board man.
Maybe.
Whatever the hell he might be. Don't you want to do it, Xavier?
He looked at you and then turned it off on his camera. He's like,
Uh-huh.
he's scared. That's all good.
No, it's not that I'm scared. I just don't know the outcome because I've
The
heard
outcome
different
is good.
stories.
No, see, you dealt with wrong motherfuckers. You gotta do it with the right motherfuckers.
Nope. Sorry, buddy.
Dude, hey,
I don't
if
know.
you do it right with me, you can make millions. And not even doing anything wrong.
I bet you have that shit in front of you already. That's why I have this feeling you have that in front of you. That's why you're doing this weird shit looking down, huh?
Who, me?
Who? Yeah, you. Not the owl behind you. Yeah, you, fool.
Looking down. This is looking.
Yeah, you're doing some weird shit. Don't. Yeah. Uh-huh. You're like, yeah. Uh-huh. You're like, yes, no.
I'm just selling a soul, you know?
No, sell your own soul, buddy. Mine's not for sale.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. That's fucked up. No, seriously, I'm just joking.
Anyways,
So
so Xavier, you want to talk about your bike motorcycle accident? What happened?
It's not a fucking motorcycle accident. Stop saying
Happened
that.
though.
It's
It
not.
happened.
It's not
Okay,
what
so what happened,
happened.
right?
did he tell
What
you that he
happened?
did X? Did you tell Anthony that you ran into the racking system when I was there?
Yeah.
Foot
No, I
racking.
never did. I fucking wrecked into the racking, but it was like on the very base of it.
He hit the bolt, dude. The bolt is now like crooked like that. Like the whole like
Oh,
the
you hit
bolt
one of the
itself.
bolts on the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's already drilled in.
You fucked up.
I'll tell you what, that thing ain't coming off. Nope.
It's not going nowhere. Huh?
It's not going nowhere. You think that fucking racking was secure? No, it's even more secure now. That fucker
But
ain't
you bent it
budging.
in place, like you crimped it in place like that. Now it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, I already let everybody know about it, so
They
it's
should. The
just cool.
Japanese should come talk to you about structural designs next time they build a earthquake-proof building.
Well, that's the thing.
Xavier's the
Like, I didn't
man.
even. That's the thing. I didn't even know it was like that fucking. I didn't know I hit it that hard until I looked at it. I'm like, son of a bitch. I was more pissed than anything. So I was like, the first thing I gotta do is, all right, cool. I'm gonna let them know. You know, that's the first thing I fucking did. I wasn't gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna say shit. You know, it was like, what's the point? They fucking saw it on camera, so what's the fucking point of trying to lie my ass out of it? Might as well come clean
That's
about
what
it.
it is.
What did I say?
Yeah, said not to worry about it. As long as I told you.
You're good.
Yeah, I dropped some shit too the other day. Something real big too. Something real big. Yeah,
Yo, you gotta
that
do me
was
a
that
favor
was.
though. If you see something come in my name though, please call me.
It's
Yeah.
still coming.
It might. No, 100% it's coming. I just if it does go there, let me know.
Don't worry, I'm in the black hole now, so it's gonna come. It's gonna come through us.
How's Richard Nixon? How?
Nixon,
Yeah.
he has his Nixon days, you know. He has his wild moments, but other than that,
Tough,
he's a politician, you know. He knows how to lie well and deflects the questions you ask him, like a politician.
tough to work with.
No, we had an understanding we came to, and things have been going well since then.
Good.
Good times, huh? Not bad. Everyone bitches and complains about shit, and it's like, shut your mouth and just get to work. Yeah, cocksucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, same old shit though. Damn, it's cold out here.
I haven't had
Oh,
really any issues with anything, honestly.
it ain't that cold, is it?
I'm outside. That's why I'm in my garage. You guys are all inside, and you're warm. I should go inside, but there's probably gonna be some wildness. It's like a fucking jungle theme in there. Those kids are like screaming and climbing on shit and fucking breaking things. Yeah, can't do that. Sorry. It's about fucking time to go to sleep. Anyways, I should go in there and start regulating. And say, hey man, go to sleep.
You guys want to end it?
Yeah, I'm down. I
All
think
right, let's
it's
one last
I think
subject.
it's
All right,
been
let's see.
good.
Go ahead.
You think we're good at 3 hours?
Yeah. Let's do one more. Let's do one more.
All right. End it off.
All right.
Fuck it.
Anthony, you got one? If not, I know one X wrote down that we didn't. Well, we really didn't touch, but
Okay, because I need the last beer of the night. That's why. So
Hmm.
the last beer of the
I
night for
mean,
me.
I'm
Last
good to
subject of the
just
night.
save whatever. I'm good to save whatever I want to talk about till like the next episode.
Well, Xavier, I have another beer to drink. So, and that's Showtime right here. See, that's all Showtime money right there, baby.
Sounds good to me. I don't have a beer, man. I'm out of water.
Fucking pretend, God. This guy go get some apple juice, pour it in the glass. Say, I'm having a good time with you, player. But no, man, he ruined that one too. Only good lies I give you, see, and he ruined them. I told him about the motorcycle accident too. I told him, hey, anytime you go, just go in a bar, take your hat off. Tell him, hey, man, I fell off a motorcycle. I got real bad. I starfish stopped in my forehead, and you know what? I spent a lot of money getting this hairline redone. And show me your hairline. And I'm like, fuck, that's a good hairline. I'm telling you, that was a good fucking lie, but you ruined it though.
No, no, I had to say
All kinds of
something.
broads. So people like,
I
oh
had to
man, you
say
rode
something.
motorcycles? And see, then
No,
you
I
can say,
had
I don't ride motorcycles no more because it's dangerous. But you fucked that one up too, man.
no, I had to say something because someone believed this shit at work. And I had
That
to
was
clear it all
hilarious.
up. I had to clear it
They
all
came
up.
up to
Don't say Joe.
the
Yeah.
dumb asshole. Yes, it was him.
All right, so
I was like,
what's the subject though?
You tell me, Dave. What's the last subject?
X. It's one that you wrote down that you told me that we did not focus on.
oh, fucking Mothman?
No, we talked about Mothman. What the
We
fuck?
did.
Final
Oh, I was
subject.
like,
It's your subject,
UFO.
Xavier.
UFO.
oh, fuck yeah. Okay. Well, what's everybody's opinion on
They're
it?
UAPs now. They're not UFOs, and that's just a way for the government to deflect again and make you feel uncertain about what you're looking at. That's my perspective.
Right.
Why do you got to change it to IEP? What the fuck does that mean?
That's stupid, honestly. I mean, there's
UAP.
been countless fucking videos showing that they exist, but yet they try to play it off every fucking time with some bullshit like, oh, it's a Starlink project. Oh, it's a satellite dish that just randomly roams around. It's like, oh, they're drones or they're planes or helicopters. Like everybody knows what the fuck they are. Like, why are you trying to hide it? Like, what's the
I
point?
feel like
What do
it's
you gain
government.
from it?
I feel like it's government aircraft that they don't want to admit to. You know, the
Right.
most highly fucking advanced form of aircraft we have right now is that I think it's a U-87. It looks like a fucking triangle. It's all blacked out. They have a certain type of paint that doesn't show up, doesn't let it show up on radar and shit like that. You know when that motherfucker was built? And this is the top quality, the top shit that we have in America. You know when that motherfucker was built? In the 80s. Think about
Damn.
that shit. If we have that type of technology that they say is still like top notch, what type of other shit are they really got that they don't really tell us about? You know what I mean? They could be some fucking
Yes.
type of hovering type shit that no one knows about, but they don't want to say. I've even heard too like stories about people saying that they've seen UFOs in active military combat areas, like in Afghanistan and shit like that. What if it's like their government using that as surveillance to like surveil the area and shit? You know what I mean? Who knows? I feel like it's government shit. And they don't want to tell people like, hey, I got some fucking hovering shit that I can come up above you and fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can see that.
I mean, it's weird. I honestly think, like Anthony was saying, like they say they're so advanced, and they are probably, but yeah, at the same time, it's like a glimpse, right? Like they want to show us what they want to show us, but they don't want to show us everything because we might freak out. I guess I don't know. It's weird.
Right.
Do I think UFOs exist? Yes. Do I think certain objects in space represent that? Yes. Especially that you remember the really long one that recently passed us, and they're like, there was some spectaclism that was also a UFO because Momawa or whatever, like that was crazy.
What the fuck is Mamawa?
X, can you look this one up real quick? It was a long object that circled around our solar system in like 2014 plus.
Are you talking about that fucking Planet Nibiru X? You remember that shit?
Oh, dude, it was a long, like really big.
Look like a turd.
Yeah,
I know you talking about. Yeah, they said it was like some spacecraft. I remember back in I think 2010 or 2011, there was this fucking weird ass thing, and that's why I bring it up because I remember that fucking Nibiru X
Oh
planet that
yeah.
passed by us, right? They were selling a fucking TV commercial they had. They said go on this website so you can pay for your spot on an aircraft or a spacecraft to fly out to this fucking planet that's swinging by us during this certain time. You remember that shit back in the day? You never seen that, huh? I remember we're up real late one day, like at 2 in the morning, and then we were watching TV and we seen this like on the TV screen. It was like a little box, like real small, like real. We're like, what the fuck is that? And then we're like, what? And then we got closer and I looked at it, and it said, go to such and such. I'm like, okay then. I went to that motherfucker. You know, we got nothing else better to do, fucking around all night. We looked at it and it was selling fucking tickets to get on a fucking spacecraft to go to the Nibiru X fucking planet as it
Hmm.
swings by, or they call it a planet. It was just like a piece of fucking rock that's fucking flying by our planet.
it's kind of like Planet X.
That's what
Yeah.
they call it, huh? Planet X.
Pretty much. X would know about it since that's his planet, right?
Gonna give it to you. What?
Goddamn, I fucking hate that song, man. At this point, I hate it. Just,
Oh, cause Joe every time fucking sees an egg.
bro,
egg
every
shit.
fucking time, bro, every time. But yeah, no, Dave was right. It was a long object, the Alma Mawa. It was a long object, a cigar-shaped comet-like object that passed through our solar system in 2017.
Yes.
That
A lot of
is-
people, if you go into depth on that, a
Fucking
lot of
aliens,
people
man.
it was aliens.
I mean, it's weird how an
You remind me of
object
Dale
like
Gribble and that
that
Mexican he
shape.
hangs out with in King of the Hill that are all about the aliens. You gonna go buy some alien piss?
Gonna go buy some alien
Premium.
piss.
I'll sell you some right now for $50. You gotta give me
I
20
got a
minutes.
jar of it right now. This guy. I don't know. The whole alien things. I think they're demons or something. Either that or there's some weird human experiment shit, like some fucking like some hillbilly weird shit. You know what I mean? Billy Bob got his DNA to the lab and they took that shit and they put it with the Chihuahua or some shit and it made him look like a fucking big headed freak. Who
They
knows?
mixed it with the Chihuahua from the
What's
Taco
up, my
Bell ad.
boys? I bet you there's Edgar too.
No.
What's up, my boys?
Sounds like fucking Eli though.
Yeah.
No, but honestly, man, I do believe UFOs are real and I do believe aliens exist. You know, a lot of people will say that they're more of like our ancestors in some way. Some people say that. I don't know how. I guess because of how they might look, how they might come off, you know. But I think they're aliens, like through and through. I think there is like some shit out in our solar system that we just have no idea is there.
Okay.
Who knows? I don't know. Some people say that fucking. Have you hear those weirdos that say space is fake? It's not. It's we live in a dome on a flat plate like a fucking snow globe. It's a flat
That's so
plane.
stupid, bro. That's so dumb.
It's fucking dumb. And then people believe in that shit where they're like, we're encased in the ice caps, and if you break through the ice cap wall, you go into a different world. Like, what the fuck kind of stupid shit is that? I don't believe in that dumb shit. Or they say the world is flat because when you travel and you record it, you see yourself going from one place to another on the flat. No, it's because of your perspective. If you flying around the world, dumbass. People are fucking stupid.
X. All right. So, X and Anthony, please don't leave. If you want to say goodbye for the podcast and then don't leave once again, I'm going to end it, but don't leave. Okay. So, if you guys want to say goodbye to everybody that has or will watch in the future or has watched, whatnot, please say so now.
Yeah, I mean, I hope everybody enjoyed whoever watches this. I hope everybody enjoyed. And if you do have any comments or any critiques that y'all might like to give us, then we would appreciate that. And that's all from me, really.
Yeah, pretty much. I'd say the reason why we call this the Peace Pipe Podcast is we all get together, no matter what our differences may be, and we all come to an understanding that there will be no lines within this Peace Pipe Podcast circle. So I hope you come bring that same shit, because that's what it comes down to. We're a Native American based podcast, and we all have
Correct.
different perspectives, and we all respect each other's opinions, and that's what we're here for.
I would totally agree with both of them. And until next time, once again, I told Exodus too. I'm sorry to say this. It's not no disrespect. I hope you guys all have a blessed week. God bless. Satan loves. And until next time, I'm BPO. Peace the fuck out. Later, y'all.
All right.
And